Oh, because it's doing that. There we go. Thanks, OBS. Welcome, everybody, to that time of the year, the marathon stream. Apparently, 8 prediction categories is not good enough for you people. You want the full 23. Brought to you by the number 23, Jim Carrey. So yeah, after delay after delay after delay, we now have a date of Thursday for nominations, so we can finally get to predicting them. I didn't mention it in the blurb for this thing, but expect some BAFTA nomination talk here, because there'll be probably a lot of carryover to some extent on a few of the things. So yeah, I'm Ashley. That's AJ. That's Owen. Let's get the show on the road and all that.
Speaking of delays, this was actually supposed to be yesterday, but I had a pretty severe technical difficulty. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I guess we want to make this pretty concise because we have 23 categories to go to.
Yeah.
But I would be remiss if we didn't at least mention Lynch really quick.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's it's been a while since I've been this bummed out by a high-profile death. Because I remember when he came out and said I have emphysema and I'll only be working remotely from now on. And then this happened I had heard there was a possibility it was fire related that made him really decline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was the evacuation or just what in general, but it's hard to put into words how unfortunate of a loss this is for art and creativity and just having a brilliant mind out there giving us stuff with such a signature. And just when I've always said that something that really helps my creative drive and is also just really comforting in almost like an ASMR way is when you watch the special features for Twin Peaks: The Return. And it's like a bunch of video diaries, like Richard Bamer did one, and you're just watching him work with no fancy editing or anything like that, and just watching him interact with his collaborators and just the affection he had for his job and the people he worked with. There's a great bit in those special features where he's having a conversation with Cheryl and Fenn, and it feels like we're eavesdropping. And it's beautiful and simple. And just it's weird how insane and often kind of terrifying his movies were. But he was such a calm presence. And then all his other stuff, like the weather reports or what he did on Louis or what he did with Seth MacFarlane. It's like he branched out kind of everywhere. The scene in The Fabelmans. I just kind of loved everything about him. We've talked in detail about some of his movies, not many of them, because it's one of those things where if we're going to discuss his movies, it's something you don't just kind of wing it. You have to really be bringing something to the table if you want to discuss a Lynch movie. So I could have this conversation for hours, but I just wanted to throw that out. I don't know if anybody else wanted to throw anything out real quick.
Yeah, thanks. Go ahead.
The briefing I wanted to say is it kind of is fitting that the last thing we saw of him on screen was playing John Ford in The Fabelmans, being a grumpy ass, just like how I feel he would be. And then, of course, the thing that helped me through lockdown is the whole... Hang on, I've got to do it right. It's December the 10th, and if you can believe it, it's a Friday once again. I just saw that I see it every time because it's like, today is Friday in California, or the whole, another case of the Mondays from WandaVision, things like that. It just became the thing that you posted to acknowledge this is the day of the week. It's like those Twitter accounts are like, today is the only day you can post this sort of thing. It was just brilliant. It was just every so often, there's David Lynch being David Lynch.
Sorry, Ashley. When I think of somebody's got a case of the Mondays, the only thing that comes to my mind is Diedrich Bader in Office Space.
That as well, yeah.
You get your ass kicked or something like that.
Oh, and also I need to point out, as somebody that often received evaluations for my scripts that they needed to be cut down. I was talking about how calm he was and how affectionate he was, unless he was really annoyed to his breaking point. In which case, we got the famous moment in those Twin Peaks behind the scenes where somebody has, as we cut here to cut the scene down, and he turns to her for a long time and then just says, "Who gives a fucking shit how long the scene is?" And it's like just little things like that where it's like, don't stunt a mind like David Lynch's mind.
I want to be very grateful to AJ for not only introducing me to David Lynch's work, but also facilitating a way for me to be able to see some of them theatrically. And that was a really awesome experience as well.
Yeah. In 2014, an art house theater nearby did a Lynch marathon.
Yep.
And we were able to see The Elephant Man, Mulholland Drive. You were in Orlando at the time. My brother and I went to Blue Velvet.
We saw Blue Velvet on my old computer back in the day. I remember that.
Yeah. And probably one of my favorite things is we saw Lost Highway.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first time seeing Lost Highway, was in a theater with a crowd. And I talk about the Blue Velvet theater experience, which is one of my favorite theater experiences ever. I actually did a versus of Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive where I talk about both of those movies on the channel, and I talk about how amazing the Blue Velvet theater experience was.
So I want to bring up another one too. Talking about David Lynch is obviously going to be the way to start this show. It makes sense. We're talking about the Oscars today. Something that's not necessarily Oscar nominated, but always was a performer that I very much enjoyed, and that's Bob Uecker. And I was hugely into Mr. Belvedere. Love that show. And I absolutely love Major League 2. Yes, I know what you're saying. Major League 2. Yes, I like the second one because I don't remember much about the first one. Uecker, of course, had his moment at WrestleMania. We got choked by Andre the Giant. That was super cool. We got inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2010. And yes, for those of you that know, Harry Doyle, his character in Major League 2, I took a lot of inspiration from, and literally the name itself, to create one of my favorite inside jokes that I made everyone realize was a real thing in 2018 of the NASCAR commentator Bocephus Harry Doyle IV, who got brought into Revenge of Chucky when we won Street of the Year my first year working Halloween Horror Nights in 2018. So yeah, I'm always going to be a big Bob Uecker guy, and I always bring up the whole Dynamite drop in all the time. I say that every once in a while. I haven't said it in a while, I don't believe, but yeah, that's one to bring up Bob Uecker as well. Yeah, it's going to be another rough in memoriam, I have a feeling, when we get to the actual Oscar ceremony next month. So
hell, I wouldn't be surprised if BAFTA does a big thing for Joan Plowright as well, with her passing. Well,
makes sense.
I wouldn't be surprised if they showed the clip of her and Maggie Smith slagging off Judi Dench as the bit that always does the rounds from the Nothing Like a Dame, Tea with the Dames, whatever you want to call it.
So here's the bit.
Well, there was one more thing about the Lynch scene in The Fabelmans being his last moment on camera. Of course, we remember the grouchy John Ford. It's like, where's the horizon? And it's boring as shit and stuff like that. The real key moment there is the very last shot of him when Gabriel LaBelle thanks him, and he smiles and sincerely says, "My pleasure," and that's the last time we see him. that's something that feels really appropriate.
Very appropriate. Real quick to go into chat since I have it in front of me right now. Josie says David Lynch is a legend. His birthday is the day before her brother Mike's.
Nice.
That's cool. Blue Velvet is Brian's favorite film by Lynch.
Same.
That's pretty awesome. Josie asks if you've read The Big Fish by David Lynch. AJ?
I haven't, but another thing I should have mentioned also, I watched this when I had the Criterion channel. It was that really, I can't remember the name now. It was that really weird animated thing he did. Where it was like, he did like the voices, and it was just really weird. The thing, like the kid that screams like, my teeth are bleeding. And it's like, I can't remember the name of it right now, but I watched the whole thing.
David Lynch, animated. Oh yeah, it's called Gravity Falls.
I think it was just like a black and white thing where like the animation wasn't like complex. It was very much like something he just did as like an experiment, and it's glorious.
Lynch's birthday is actually today, according to Josie, so that's interesting timing here. And also says rest in peace for Joan Plowright as well. So we'll get to chat after we get done with the actual show, but since this is somewhat relevant in the conversation, I wanted to mention it now. So, and if you have any questions outside of anything involving the predictions or your predictions yourself, tomorrow night we're going to do a hangout again, so we haven't done one in a while, so we're going to do just a regular traditional hangout show where we get asked questions, we tell stories, things like that. So if you're new to the channel, then if you like what you're hearing tonight, we're going to be a little bit more like reserved tomorrow. So
to some extent, I might semi-hijack it as well, because the other guilds decided to actually put out their nominations. They didn't lack off, so we now have WGA and PGA, thankfully.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of this. I have notes and everything, but we'll be talking about that tonight as we go into our predictions.
Oh, we're gonna... Wow. Everything under the sun.
I just looked it up again. That animated Lynch thing is called Dumbland.
Yes. Thank you, Brian. You mentioned it in chat too, just a second before you said that, AJ. Yeah. And AJ has no access to the chat, so he didn't know that. So Brian, you both like right on top of that, Rose. So
just for time as well, Brian, I might not mention your picks tonight. I might wrap it into the Q&A tomorrow. If you're putting a video up for it or anything, so just so it gets us free and the chance to talk, and so we can go the same length as the Brutalist.
So I will state also right now that Josie has another game that was introduced during our last show that is going to be the same thing this time around, but instead of 10, there's 12. That's going to be tomorrow night as well. That's going to be your main event for tomorrow's show tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But yeah, lots to talk about, and technically all the time in the world, but what better time than the present? This is our final 23 Oscar predictions for 2025.
And we have to do our usual preface for predictions, but a little more, I don't want to say aggressive than usual, but listen.
Oh,
what we always say at the beginning of this is nobody knows anything. Nominations morning always has surprises, always has us asking, how did that happen or how did that not happen? Mm-hmm. This year is kind of a beast of a year, to the point that going over it, doing every category, it feels like nearly every category is so overflowing. Every single category is going to have at least one thing happen in it that's considered a snub. Mm-hmm. Like every category is overflowing.
God, I go so far and say there's like 2 or 3 at least.
And when we get to the acting categories, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I don't know. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not confident in really anything.
No, at this point, I'm definitely not either.
Is there enough precedent that if, let's say, the 5th candidate has got the same number of votes as the 6, do they have to put both forward? Because they got the you can't really say, oh well, your votes don't matter compared to the other one because they have the same equal ones.
It's so rare, but this is the type of year above most in recent memory that's a believable answer
Yeah,
right now.
that's why I'm sort of bringing it up, because with such an overflowing list, because I think, was it BAFTA? I'm trying to remember whether it was BAFTA or it might have been one of the guilds, whether it was PGA or it might. To be honest, it might have been one of the other technical guilds, where usually there's a list of 5, but for some reason it was 6.
Mm-hmm.
It was the cinematography guild, and it was 7.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
We talked about that the other day on the phone.
So there's like, so this year is insanity. So if anybody says anything and you're like, oh, but where's this thing, you idiot? It's like, that's the kind of year it is.
Yeah.
There's gonna be so many times nominations where we're like, oh shit, how did that thing not make it? Because everything's overflowing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have to deal with that.
And then, of course, if you want to talk about it further, we have a show that night on Thursday that will discuss everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm gonna have to repeat that as we go through these, because dumbasses will be coming in midway, going, "Why didn't you say that thing? How do you think that's not gonna happen, you idiot?"
I know you're going to do that on your recorded video when it gets uploaded to the channel Thursday morning.
So everybody in AJ's mind sounds like an O'Doyle, so we're good on that.
Hopefully they suffer the same fate. So
shoot.
By the way, I'm yelling at like invisible people. I'm yelling at invisible people. I don't even know if these people exist, but I just feel like this is YouTube. They do.
I'm sure they do.
If the people are that high on your spectrum, it's interesting. If they're on that high of the spectrum, it's interesting. If they're on that high of the spectrum, pieces of shit. My pleasure.
Well said.
All right,
let's
so
talk
with
about
that,
movies I like and don't like. Let's go.
All right, let's do our yearly tradition of confusing Owen with the order they're in.
God dang it! I have an order, so I have to make it work.
I am pretty sure I put these in the same order I put them in every year. So,
oh dear God, I never remember.
This, to me, I like this order. This is why I chose it.
Okay, go ahead.
We are starting with visual effects.
That's what I've got to.
Okay. Again, there's things in here I really wanted to put in here. There's one in particular I feel like I'm making a mistake not putting in, but the trouble is I don't know what would be replaced. So
yeah,
that's going to be the case for like every fucking category.
Yes.
So what I have settled on is Better Man, Dune, Planet of the Apes, Mufasa, and Wicked. Everything, we went through this, everything in Alien looks great. However, and yes, they did apparently tweak Ian Holm after the fact, but I don't know. If you have one controversial thing, that might be enough to do you in. See the end fight scene of Black Panther when everything else in Black Panther looks great. The movie I feel like I should have in here, and I really could really see happening, I just don't know what to take out and put in its place, is Twisters.
I wouldn't mind that.
I feel like Twisters is really possible here. I just don't know which of those 5. Because we were talking about the ape theme. Better Man, Planet of the Apes, Mufasa, and Wicked all have some form of monkey or ape in them.
Good God, it's crazy to think that.
Obviously, another one that I did not consider was Gladiator. Also has apes in it of some kind, which do not look good at all, which is why I didn't go with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Better Man, Doom, Planet of the Apes, Mufasa, Wicked. that's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah.
Ashley.
It's great what AJ said because it kind of basically explains everything that I'm about to say. I have Better Man, Doom Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Twisters, and Wicked. That's what I replaced Mufasa with.
I was thinking Mufasa would be the first one I would have bumped if I did
Yeah.
Twister.
And also, I want to say this every year. Better Man is the ex machina of this year, as in it's the indie film punching above its weight that makes it in for what it's doing in terms of. Because don't get me wrong, the whole technology going into it is probably maybe the next stage up from what we've been getting with Circus and Apes in terms of motion capture and things like that. I'm still questionable about the film. I still love the fact that Americans think it's the boot about Robin Williams and not know who Robbie Williams is.
I can also see the argument where people will say, like, oh, but what about the bad box office reports? Nobody even saw it. And it's like, well, even if the voters didn't see it, for visual effects, they're still shown, like, they have, like, a whole presentation before they vote. So even if they didn't see the movie, they could still vote for it.
Yeah, and mostly in that case, they appreciate what the effort that goes into it. Remember a few years back? Not everybody got Dolomite Is My Name, but dear Lord, it made it in makeup and hair. Because it's the craft, so.
So this year I decided to really buckle down and try to win this thing like legitimately. Like I'm gonna go against things I don't like. I'm gonna go against things that I like. I don't want to do that. I don't like doing that, but I'm just trying to win at this point, and I'm not going to go for things necessarily I want to win, just I need that point. But I'm looking at the 4 things I possibly could take from, and then we get down on the long list. One of the movies that was not mentioned by either of you, and it's not on my list either, but something I would like to see eke its way onto this list is Civil War. I like Civil War. I like Civil War a lot, and I wish that it would get some sort of recognition this year because this is the only chance it's got. But the thing about it is, that's not happening. I also have the same Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked that everyone else has, but I have a last that you guys don't have. And now that I've only seen the second one and not the first one, tells me that maybe I don't know how to judge visual effects because I went with Gladiator 2.
Okay.
So Gladiator 2 and Wicked both got 3 out of the 4. So they were like basically like stabs in the dark. Wicked not, because I feel like Wicked is a good bet in most categories. Not everything, but most categories. And Better Man, Dune, and Kingdom all went 4 for 4.
All right. Are we moving on?
We are moving on.
Okay. Before we do this next one, there was another thing I wanted to address, which was there'll be a lot of years where they really spread the love.
Yes.
And sometimes there's years where voters get really obsessed with like 3 or 4 movies and just go all in on 3 or 4 movies. Even though it was an amazing year with amazing movies, we saw that in 2019 especially. And if the guilds are anything to go on right now, they seem obsessed with Wicked, A Complete Unknown, and Amelia Perez. Which might explain why I feel like Wicked, Amelia Perez, and Complete Unknown are going to just sort of show up a lot. Because they just seem to be going all in on them in general. So, with that in mind, we go into sound.
That's what I got next.
For sound, I have A Complete Unknown, Dune, Amelia Perez, Gladiator, and Wicked. Gladiator was a last-minute choice. The two I was deciding between before I went with Gladiator were Alien and Deadpool. I think Alien would be a really good choice here. Deadpool just kind of wouldn't be surprising. There's a lot going on in it, I guess. But I couldn't get out of my head how surprisingly well Napoleon did last year, which like kind of nobody saw coming, how much Napoleon kind of overperformed a little bit in the text. And Ridley Scott shouldn't be underestimated.
No.
So that's what pushed me towards Gladiator. As far as Complete Unknown, Emilia Perez, and Wicked, not only did I just mention them as voters seem to be quite obsessed with those three, but it's also music movies tend to lean towards the sound category.
I find it ironic that, you know, we always say that this category is about music films and war films, and the only war film that even made it to the shortlist is Blitz.
I mean, Dune has a different kind of war going on, but
yeah,
another worldly kind of war.
Oh, just because I'll mention it now, because Bry is putting them in the chat directly rather than a video, so I don't have to skip it. For VFX, he had Alien, Dune, Gladiator, Kingdom of Apes, and Wicked. And then for sound, A Complete Unknown, Dune, Emilia Perez, Gladiator, and Wicked. Can't remember if that's the same. Let me go over to my spreadsheet. I have Complete Unknown, Deadpool and Wolverine, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, and Wicked. It does feel like it's to me at least, it's the same. It's like with VFX. It's like the 4 that AJ said, and it's just which blockbuster makes it the 5th. Is it Gladiator? Is it Alien? Is it Deadpool? It's probably not going to be Blitz. Watch it now be Blitz. Although, to be honest, watch it be Joker. And then it's like, after everything that people crapped on, and then Joker still gets an Oscar nomination. They're going to have to do the re-bloody... They'll put Warner Brothers, because they're desperate for any sort of cred, will redo the packaging saying Oscar-nominated Joker Foilade.
Well, we were just mentioning Napoleon, which is another Joaquin Phoenix movie that hardly anybody actually liked. That so it almost kind of fits the mold.
Well, it's really not much I can say at this point. It's AJ's lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I have A Complete Unknown, which is interesting that it didn't get in at BAFTA. It's the only one that it missed. And then you have Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Gladiator 2, and Wicked. Same thing. So Dune and Wicked both got 3 for 3, and Emilia Perez and Gladiator with A Complete Unknown only got 2 for 3. So, and when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the Guild, I'm talking about BAFTA, and the actual long list. So when I'm doing the numbers, there's reasons for that because they make sense in my head. So I was trying to see if I can justify why I'm saying what I'm saying, so I sound a little bit more understood about what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I know where we're going next, and I feel that is where I'm going to talk next.
Animated feature.
Definitely not.
Okay, so I feel like most of us and anybody watching this, animated has seemed for a while like it's figured out, but there's always been room for at least one shakeup. I am not taking any risks.
That is a very smart move.
Flow, Inside Out, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, The Wild Robot. The one that I think could get bumped out and shake things up is Memoir of a Snail. Seems the most vulnerable, I guess.
That's the wrong one, but you're not.
And there's 2 ways it can go. they're either going to go with the most boring, baffling choice they could go with, the movie that just broke $1 billion somehow,
Cheewho.com.
or it's going to be something totally random we probably weren't even looking at, that most people have not heard of. But I'm going ahead and sticking with Memoir of a Snail.
Ashley.
Keep that short. It's exactly the same as AJ's list. It just feels like that sort of the... I'd be surprised if that Christmas made a play. Ultraman Rising would be interesting as well, because that didn't even come out over here, so that'd be intriguing. And it does feel like that the major studios really didn't deliver on substantial stuff. The reason why I think Moana 2 might not make it in is the fact that it didn't even make the Annies, but Kung Fu Panda 4 did.
It did.
At least in terms of the main, because obviously Flow and Kensuke's Kingdom and Memoir of a Snail, which are probably the 3 highest profile indies, are indies. All the other ones are sort of major studios. Although, Ultraman Rising, I guess, is following on from, being sort of a Netflix thing like that Christmas is, but, it's still a major thing, so... Yeah, sort of short and sweet, it's the same list. And Bry has said the same. So, Owen, do you want to just say... see the other 2 guys, next category?
Yeah, there's really no reason to go anything further. It's the right 5. I mean, I can't say anything about Wallace and Gromit. AJ knows my wonderful love for Aardman. And the fact that I'm this close to getting Boom covered on the animated feature category at the Oscars, which would make me very happy. So let's say something would happen and Wallace and Gromit would miss, which it won't happen. Then I would be able to say all 5. But no, at this point, that's the one I need to see because it's the only thing hanging above my head. Yeah, there's no reason not to be these 5.
Have you managed to catch up with it yet, AJ?
I really wanted to this week. I probably will before nominations morning.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
Because I want to rewatch The Wrong Trousers as well.
Oh.
So, which I do have a DVD of, so I'm ready to go anytime.
I swear you were going to do that, and you're going to be like continuity error, like actually this isn't the same as what happened 30-something years ago.
Wow. All right, where am I jumping to now?
One that hurts my head. International.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
This one is never entirely predictable, even when it seems like it is.
That is absolutely correct.
And let me say that again. Are you ready? Here we go. This one is never as predictable as it seems. Especially when we have this. Here's what I did, okay? I separated 5 I considered and didn't go with. An entire other 5 I considered and didn't go with. And then the 5 that I did go with. I did not go with From Ground Zero, which seems like...
Oh, no.
Something that... What did you do?
Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it.
To my understanding, From Ground Zero is like an anthology movie. And I'm wondering if I love anthology movies, but as like voters go and the way they seem to get invested, given what they vote for, I wonder if an anthology movie would be less resonant than them investing in one story. That's kind of what pulled me away from Ground Zero.
Okay.
Kneecap.
Also, dare I say it, there might be another Palestinian story movie that might have more chance and more attention on it. But we'll get to
that. There's Kneecap, which has done pretty well so far, especially with how, like, when you look at the BAFTA long list, and even what it was actually nominated for at BAFTA, Kneecap has been pretty beloved throughout the season.
As it should be.
Mm-hmm.
There's Vermilio, which has come up a lot. Flo could get in more than once. And I didn't rule out How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies. Those are the ones I did not go with.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that in mind, what I went with is Amelia Perez, The Girl with the Needle, I'm Still Here, Santos, and See the Sacred Fig. You know what's got me all paranoid now that Flo has come up? And the wild robot has been a possibility in a lot of other categories here. What happened to Across the Spider-Verse last year has me really paranoid about animated movies. Where Across the Spider-Verse had a number of things it could have done last year, and nothing animated left the animated category last year. And that made me kind of stick by that this year. More in consideration.
I'm just double checking because my list is done by country of origin rather than the order that you gave. So you have Amelia Perez, Go with the Needle, I'm Still Here, Santosh, and Seed of the Sacred Fig, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, mind you, the last time a movie got into animated and international, it was also a 4-letter title that started with FL. So we could repeat that, but those are the 5 I went with. But I feel like this category is going to be a little crazy and unpredictable. So, yeah.
Okay. Ashley.
So, the way I'm working here is you have your. I can't say shoe-ins because it's how it works, but I feel at least with the momentum that it seems to have from a lot of things, Brazil is going to be represented by I'm Still Here. I think with the momentum that it has in the general picture of things, Amelia Perez makes sense to be here. Then you have to juggle which the other European countries may or may not make it in. For me, I've gone with Seed of the Sacred Fig, and I've gone with Kneecap. But the thing is, there's always that one country that is left field. And I've realised because of the new computer, I do not have the picture of Luana or Yak in the classroom ready. So to me, which is probably a risk because I don't think I have it in the other category, even though it probably would be in there, I have Senegal's Dahomey. Because if I just look at that list, dear Lord, most of it is European. Czech, Denmark, Italy, Iceland, Latvia, Norway, UK. It's a very Western list of 15. Or very European, I should say, list of 15. And I always feel that international feature always tries to put a spotlight on one that it isn't from a major territory. Because I'd say Brazil is a major territory because of the amount of time we've seen, Brazilian films get a lot of acclaim. City of God, I think back to a couple of decades back and everything. And they always like to sort of like showcase it's not just the usual places. And I don't know whether Ground Zero, as I say, I think there's a different Palestinian film that has got more chance of getting a nomination. I've heard decent things about Waves. Universal Language, I don't know. To some extent, I'm questioning Santosh, but because I don't think it will make it in, even though that's UK. And then, to be honest, with if people aren't watching the films, like apparently seems to be, because dear Lord, some of those fucking brutal, like, oh, I didn't actually bother to watch the film. I'm just voting for who my friends worked on. It's like, oh great, it's that sort of thing. Um, so yeah, Senegal is my sort of, I can't say left field pick, but like newer newer nation or newer recognized filmmaking nation that always seems to show up at least every year in international feature. They very rarely go just from the safe countries. There's always one where it's left field, so that's why I went with the homie. But just to clarify, Bry went with your winner, Amelia Perez. How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies, I'm Still Here, Kneecap, and Seed of a Sacred Fig.
Well, I was looking into international feature film, and yeah, there you have very compelling arguments, both of you do, and you're probably right because there's a precedent for both of you being correct. There's always something from left field that you're not expecting. Not necessarily the film per se, but it's a country that doesn't really fit the rhyme scheme. And I feel that's where Latvia comes in here. Because I'm actually going to play it completely different than I usually do. And I'm going to say that for the first time in recent memory, the lineup for Best International Feature is going to be basic, boring, and have no surprises at all. So that tells you that my lineup for International Feature is going to be I'm Still Here, Amelia Perez, Seed of the Sacred Fig, Kneecap, and Flow.
I guess this would be the time to mention really quick that a lot of people, and it's continuing to grow, are not happy about Amelia Perez.
Yes.
These voices are getting louder and louder, but at the same time, it feels like the industry is absolutely stonewalling them on this. And they are continuing to go hard on Amelia Perez. So that's what
Is
we're
this
looking at.
where I bring up the hilarious meme that I saw this week about the whole thing about all the AI that's supposedly used in the Brutalist, which the Brutalist producers and everything have sort of fended back on? And the thing it was the tweet was like, you know, the person that put out the report saying that the AI was being used, and they just did that shot of Ray Fiennes looking at the hall of the people in the mess room, akin to when he gets the quote unquote, you know, the evidence from the dead popes thing, you know, to try and be the smear campaign sort of thing. It's that sort of like, I can sense that that's what it was trying to do. Whether it will work with the Brutalist, we'll have to see. But you know, it's just very much parallels with what Amelia Perez is going through as well right now. It's like the ones that people don't want to be successful are doing well.
The argument I had heard was that I guess that whole AI thing is actually a pretty common technique that just doesn't typically make news, and they only tweaked like a few seconds of one of Brody's lines.
Yeah,
That's all I'd heard.
There were some claims it was visual AI stuff as well, not just the voice changing stuff.
That's all I've heard.
Although, you know, the voice changing stuff, somebody looked into the people, and apparently they did the voice of Richard Nixon 5 years ago. It's officially credited as the voice of Richard Nixon. Like, okay.
Well, speaking of sometimes categories that seem like they're obvious but never are, documentary feature.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I would hope if you are watching this, you are aware of these categories enough now that you know that documentary is never what it looks like. When it comes to what gets shortlisted to what gets nominated, documentary is never ever what it looks like. So, with that in mind, Like I said, this is more about the stuff that I'm snubbing than it is the stuff I went with. First of all, when I looked at the short list, my immediate thought was it's one of those first two is the first one. It's one of the B's. And sure enough, Black Box Diaries, I believe, got in at BAFTA.
That is correct.
I ended up going the BB Files here, as well as Daughters, No Other Land, Porcelain War, and Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat. Obviously, Dahomey has a lot of love. Sugarcane has gotten a lot of love. Black Box Diaries got that BAFTA nomination. The Remarkable Life of Evelyn is another one I really, 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 really considered. If I was to put it in place of one of the ones I went with, it'd probably be Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat. So, which is another very beloved one. So, documentary, you just have to guess. To me, there's no strategy for documentary. Just good luck to you. So,
pretty similar, with one difference to AJ. I have Daughters, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and Will and Harper.
okay.
No Other Land is the Michael Moore backed or produced, I don't know, Palestinian one. This is why I don't think the Palestine one in the anthology form will do it, whereas No Other Land, from what I've heard, is pretty impactful. Even though it seems to be another one that, like Brutalist, is been struggling for a while to get a major bit of distribution in terms of like getting it out there. I guess it's got a chance, if it does get nominated, that there will be screenings of it and whatever. But yeah, Porcelain War is another one that's been. I think Porcelain War is the only one that hasn't been snubbed from any of the other bodies. Satellite
Actually,
Awards.
there's one. It didn't get into critics. It didn't get into BAFTA, but it made PGA and DGA. Also made the long list, and it made one of the guilds as well.
Yeah, and obviously with the guilds, it sort of gets complicated because, like, I still don't know how you do a script for a documentary.
It won Best Picture a couple years ago.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm going with. Bry's 5 are Black Box Diaries, Dahomey, Daughters, No Other Land, and Sugarcane. And then adding, we know for a fact Will and Harper is the most popular one.
Again, with documentary, you have to judge what's going to be the crazy thing, and you never end up doing it right because there's always one that comes out of absolute nowhere. I played the numbers game this time instead of going for a shot in the dark. So I have about the same thing everybody else has, but it seems to be one other different one, but it's already been mentioned. So Daughters, No Other Land, Porcelain War, a Soundtrack to Coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. Very safe. Very evil.
Yeah, again, like we said earlier, it does feel like nearly all these categories have 6 or 7 that need to be somehow crammed to 5. And Sugarcane is one that was sort of like, it's there that I could easily see get in.
Where are we going next?
We're going to roll right into documentary short.
Okay, that's what I've got next too.
Again, if you got a strategy on this, you're probably lying. So,
Our best.
so good guessing, everybody. Let's try this. Here's what happened here to me doing documentary short. I made a choice and I went ahead and stuck with it, even though upon reflection, noticing this should make me change it. But I decided not to. I decided to say, maybe something really weird's going to happen here. I have one, and then the other 4 I have are all in that order consecutively on the short list.
Interesting.
So, and I guess I kind of went through them, and I was like, I feel good about these, and then I realized that. So, it wasn't like I said, I'll go with this one and these 4. So it just happened that way.
All right, what you got?
I Am Ready, Warden. Michaela's Voice, A Letter to the World. There's always one with a colon. Once Upon a Time in Ukraine, The Only Girl in the Orchestra, and Planet Walker. I look like I cut out for a second there. Did you get everything?
Yeah.
I did.
Great.
That's kind of ironic. Because when you said 1 and then 4 together, I was like, oh god, where is it going? And then as soon as you said your first was I Am Ready, Warden, I'm like, okay. That's the first one I have in my list as well, so that I don't need to worry about all the other ones alphabetically. I just need to work out what the other one is, and then as soon as you said Michaela's Voice, I'm like, right, that's the 4 from there. The irony is, take out one of those 4 and switch it with something else. Here's my 5. I Am Ready, Warden. Michaela's Voice, A Letter to the World. Once Upon a Time in Ukraine. Planet Walker. And A Swim Lesson. I've heard very promising things about Swim Lesson. Which is why I've sort of... I want to say I singled it out. But also, because they do like to sort of like mix it up in terms of where things are coming from, being in mind that the swim lesson one is an LA Times production. And by the way, if you do want to watch it, it's still on YouTube. They haven't pulled it yet. My God. Also, following the trend that we've done for the past few years, although we're not in live action short, we're in documentary short, this is directed by Rashida Jones. So here's your celebrity one. Although I'm trying to remember if Will McCormack, that name rings a bell as well.
He won in 2010 for If Anything Happens, I Love You.
Yeah. And then, of course, he's exec producer on Kevin Can Fuck Himself. So for that alone, I wanted to... The guy that brought you Kevin Can Fuck Himself is getting another Oscar nod. We'll see. So yeah, Bry's documentary short 5, Chasing Rue, Death by Numbers, I Am Ready, Warden, Incident, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra.
Right. So I had that exact notation about A Swim Lesson that I was going to mention too, but Ashley already beat me to it, so I don't have to bring up that little anecdote there. I don't have to. That's good. Very similar to everyone else's, and my fifth didn't get mentioned until Brian did. So I also have I Am Ready, Warden, Michaela's Voice, A Letter to the World, Once Upon a Time in Ukraine, and A Swim Lesson. And joining for my fifth, I also have Incident.
All right. So if I'm Ready, Warden misses, we're all fucked. So...
If Michaela and Warden miss, and Ukraine miss, we're all screwed.
So totally expect that to happen.
Yeah.
So, again, good luck, everybody.
Oh, God.
Let's do live action short.
I figured that was coming.
These are also have some famous backers.
Yes.
At least a couple of these. I didn't honestly look that much into it because it's still just a gamble when you're doing the shorts, especially. So I said for live action short,
God.
Anuja, The Ice Cream Man, I'm Not a Robot, Aline, Room Taken. I almost said Edge of Space, and then I said The Ice Cream Man instead.
Okay. There's really no reason to mention anything. We don't know anything yet, so.
I mean, a couple of these are like out there and can be seen, but I haven't gotten to them yet.
Ashley.
I did this the right way. I did this let's just see what go with the names.
Oh God.
With a little bit of because to be fair, there are some things that crop over, and live action short does get very interesting in that some that that get a lot of buzz don't get anything.
Yeah.
So I went with Anuja, Cloda, Dovecote, I'm Not a Robot, and Paris 70 because it sounds like Beatles 64. Also, I feel like films that have a word and then a number afterwards may also be getting a lot of attention here. We'll get to that in a few.
What was your last one?
Say again?
What was the last one again?
Paris 70.
I got that. What was the one before that?
I'm Not a Robot.
Okay, I missed that one. Okay, what's the third? Oh, okay, wait a minute.
Dovecote.
What am I missing?
Dovecote.
Okay, there we go.
Cloda and Anuja. In reverse order.
Okay. That's not spelled right at all.
Even Briar's just said, God damn. Well, he said shit. When Ashley said that about a swim lesson, I should have gone with it. There we go. To be fair, though, it could be the live action short that does the celebrity thing rather than the documentary short. Then again, I guess that worked with Kobe and all that a few years back. Bry for live action short has Anuja, Ice Cream Man, I'm Not a Robot, Aline, and The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent.
So, Anuja is one I probably should have went for. That's the one that's got the Mindy Kaling backing. Aileen, just again, I just wanted it to be about James Franco and Spring Breakers, but I know it's not. You knew I was going to go there. Reading more into the Ice Cream Man, it seems like something they would go for, but maybe part of me is just judging it on things I want to sit through in a warm theater at 2:00 in the afternoon, and I don't really want to do that. So, no. Zoe Saldana is doing Dovecote, so she'd have a really, really awesome Oscar.
Oh, she could have. So you're telling me she could do a daily double?
It's very possible.
In wins and also nominations.
Yeah, and also Brian mentioned The Man Who Couldn't Remain Silent, which is the Palm winner at Cannes this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason I kind of went with it. So Dovecote, I'm Not a Robot, The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent, Paris 70, and Room Taken.
I don't think it's been mentioned yet that Room Taken's being backed by Colin Farrell.
That is correct, yes. It hasn't been mentioned yet, you're right.
What's your list again, Owen? I'm just seeing what I have and what doesn't carry over.
We both have Dovecote, we both have Robot. We both have Paris. I have Room and Silent.
Right. Just so I'm putting them in the right bit in the spreadsheet.
Let's get rid of that. .com. Okay, something tells me we're going to finish out the category.
Yeah, let's do animated short. I have seen a few of these. I've seen 3 of these. I went with 2 of the ones I saw and ousted 1. I went with A Bear Named Wojtek, A Crab in the Pool, Origami, Perseus, and Wander to Wonder.
Bear, crab, origami, Perseus, and wonder. Okay.
The one that I saw that I didn't go with was the first one on the list that translates to Goodbye My World, where a guy in a fish costume witnesses the end of the world. And but the thing is, the emotional landing is that he goes towards the disaster, and the payoff is what he's going towards. So it's nice, but I didn't go for it. I also saw A Crab in the Pool and Origami. Crab in the Pool, here's the thing. I was really sick when it came out, so I basically have Willem Dafoe's Criterion Closet video memorized. And the way that he describes Life Aquatic is something like it floats for a long time, and for a while you think, what the hell? But then it lands emotionally in a way that is incredible. That's pretty much exactly the way I describe A Crab in the Pool. And Origami is the one that's like all visual. Like there's no particular narrative and there's no dialogue. It just kind of unfolds and gets more elaborate as it goes. It reminds and it's really short. It's like less than 3 minutes.
Nice.
You could probably say it's like Fresh Guacamole was like that.
That's true.
I also feel like it's kind of comparable to Opera, the one that was just kind of like an endless scroll.
Mm-hmm.
Owen's grimacing. I loved Opera.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, I almost feel like Origami is kind of like that one for this year. And Wander to Wonder has had a really good track record this year. So I went with that. Perseus is that one where it's just like, I don't know, I just kind of have a feeling, and the same with A Bear Named Wojtek. So, yeah. So a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of strategy there, but not really. Still just guessing.
Similar stuff for me, unsurprisingly. I have A Bear Named Wojtek, is it? A Crab in the Pool, In the Shadow of the Cypress, Wander to Wonder, and Yuck! Exclamation point. I literally have gone with Yuck because it has an exclamation point. I get sort of on the same reasoning of like documentary short always has, there's one at least with a colon in. I feel like there's always something that's always in contention, whether it makes it in or not, that has something that is not a letter or a number. The special characters when you have to make your blooming passwords. So, yeah. Wander to Wonder, I'm not saying it now, but if it doesn't win BAFTA, considering all the Oscar love it's getting, there's some, that would be fascinating, to be fair. If it wins BAFTA, or loses at BAFTA but wins the Oscar, BAFTA will be like, well, we screwed up. I guess we like Mog's Christmas too much. Or something. But yeah, those are mine. Bry has Bear Named Wojtek, Beautiful Man, Me, Wander to Wonder, and Yuck! Exclamation point. I know it's too easy to go with the 4 at the Annies, with Wander to Wonder also getting in at BAFTAs, and also the one by Don Hertzfeldt.
I don't have to bring that up either, Brian. Thanks. I appreciate that. Hertzfeldt was nominated in 2000 for Rejected and 2015 in World of Tomorrow. This will be his 3rd nomination if Me gets in. So I have Me as in my lineup here. Wander to Wonder makes sense. Yuck is also in here. In the Shadow of the Cypress, I feel like It has to be. It makes sense. It needs to be in here. If you know, you know. And the weird one that is not under anybody's like radar, I don't know why. It's just a question I ask myself every once in a while when I'm sitting at home late at night when the power goes out. Maybe elephants? Yep.
I hope that's the way somehow it's said on the show. It's like in solidarity to women are talking from Mark Wahlberg a few years back.
We're never gonna top Riz Ahmed having to say "my year of dicks," but
Yes.
in a perfectly delivered way.
That we watched the shorts together. That was quite an interesting excursion. All right, where are we going now?
We're gonna talk music.
I'm sure you're excited about that. All right, so what are we starting with?
Well, I mean, my favorite movie of the year could have a really good day in these two categories.
Yeah.
We're gonna start with song.
Okay.
Okay. So let me talk about that real quick. So I've mentioned a number of times that my favorite movie of the year is Challengers.
Yes.
And it could possibly make a few categories.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna kind of play the win-win game here, where it's like, if I lose a point, I'm still happy because it got in. So I went ahead and didn't say Challengers for anything. Also because I'm a bit of bad luck sometimes, so. Not last year, but holy fucking shit, am I paying for it this year? So.
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
So compress repress is definitely something that has come up a lot. Kiss the Sky is something that has come up a lot. But like I said, last year got me paranoid. So I'm sticking with the what if animated stays an animated again. And I would not at all be surprised if Kristen Wiig made it. So
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Well, I didn't, which is really funny given what the movie is that she did it for.
Did that on purpose.
So with that in mind, I didn't say those, even though I think they're all very possible. I said Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. There's usually a documentary. They love Elton John. Seems to write itself. The Amelia Perez double with El Mal and Mika Mino.
Boring.
I didn't say it for international, but I will say Sick in the Head for Kneecap.
Woohoo!
I think it's kind of a risky choice, given the style of music and the fact that they say fuck and cunt in it. And if you watch the video of them performing it on The Tonight Show on YouTube, it's uncensored. So
Excellent.
It's either it's uncensored or they couldn't understand it enough to catch it to censor it.
Yes. 100% yes.
Either or. Either or.
And you all know who number 5 is.
Oh! Let's go.
The Journey from the 6888.
I already wrote it down, AJ.
And by the way, I think if it gets in, Kneecap will be the one. There's always the one that brings the house down.
God, that'd be amazing. I'd love that so much.
If we hadn't seen an entire room at the Academy bobbing their heads to Lose Yourself recently, I would have said maybe not. But like I said, I feel like it's got an uphill battle for just the kind of music it is. But then again, that's kind of the story of Kneecap. So, and so yeah, I'm gonna go with those 5.
Ashley.
Right. So, it's annoying I had my hair cut.
You can't do Toss from next year, Ashley.
Compress Repress from Challengers.
Okay.
El Mal from Amelia Perez. Mika Mino from Amelia Perez. and Kiss the Sky from the Wild Robot. This is going to be terrible for people that are just listening to this.
Oh no.
Well, watch the screen on this one.
Oh.
Yeah, I also have the Journey from the 6888. I had to do something, Dylan, for fucking sake.
I'm just seeing it happen. You're turning into wrestling bios, and I love every second of it. Only Ashley gets that joke, but I don't care. It still makes me laugh.
Be honest, I just wanted to save it, so I only would say it one time in this nominations thing, because I'm just letting Owen get to it in a minute. But Bry has El Mao, that the 6888 song, because I'm not saying it yet. Like a Bird, Mi Camino, and Never Too Late. Oh wait. Oh, it's back. Hang on. Oh, for fuck's sake. Hang on. Take 2.
What's going on?
Please tell me it read through the paper.
It was backwards. Dear God. So, yeah, it was shoot backwards. Anyway,
I forgot that my thing is reversed.
You know, honestly, I feel really sorry for Pharrell Williams because he put everything he had into Piece by Piece and it got absolutely nothing. And I didn't even get a chance to see it because there was never a time I could watch it. Anything from Twisters, I'm fine with. And you know, after seeing the movie, any love that The Last Showgirl gets, I'm completely down with. So Miley getting in this lineup would be fine. I wouldn't mind that, especially hearing that song on the Oscar stage. That'd be a good performance.
Wasn't she not shortlisted?
She is not shortlisted, no. So it was never going to be an option, but it was something that, because I'm looking at the shortlist right now. I have it right in front of me. But yeah, so it's a shame that it went that way. But yeah, AJ couldn't go with it, but I can, and I'm going to. Just like Ashley, I also have Compress Repress, the double from Amelia Perez that will not go away apparently, as well as Kiss the Sky from Maren Morris, and yes, Never Bet Against Diane Warren and Her.
Diane motherfucking Warren! And relax.
Wrong Luca movie. If you know, you know.
All right. Does that conclude song?
Yeah.
I do welcome.
I feel with the momentum that I just did, you should have done score first, and then I do the Dylan thing.
I tend to struggle with score.
You tend to struggle with music in general, to be quite honest. I've noticed that throughout the years.
Yeah, I took a swing on this one.
As did I.
Because remember, again, last year got me paranoid. So even though it seems like an animated movie would absolutely be here, I decided not to go with it.
I wouldn't have a problem if it missed, but I'd lose a point.
Because the Wild Robot is definitely an option.
Yes.
I also consider Gladiator, honestly.
Okay.
And my fifth choice was Almost Sing Sing.
That would have been great.
But I took a swing on my fifth choice.
Okay.
I have The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez. My big swing here is The Room Next Door,
Yes.
and then Wicked.
I fully appreciate Room Next Door getting any love right now.
Because it does feel like there's usually like one sort of random turn in score. Sort of like when it was Da 5 Bloods' only nomination in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Or the inspired choice to go with American Fiction last year.
Right.
But then there's also stuff when like they went with John Williams again, just because. So I don't know, but that's what I'm gonna guess.
I see where you're coming from with that noir sounding soundtrack of The Room Next Door. Ashley, what do you got?
I have Brutalist, Challengers, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and The Wild Robot. Wicked, to me, it just feels complicated, like how much of the score already exists, at least in a different form. Will that get the same attention? That's the thing I'm on the fence about.
I have resigned to my confusion of how musicals work in a lot of
That if anything, I think that's where Wild Robot would get replaced by Wicked. The other four I'm more confident on. Yeah, Wicked falls into the grey area where it's like I don't feel comfortable in saying it.
Sure.
So I went with something that seems to be a relatively something that has been doing the rounds and getting the right momentum and being in people's sort of lists and whatever. Although let's watch it be 688 so motherfucking Warren gets even more recognition. I don't know how much of the score she did, or whether it was just the one song.
Doesn't matter.
Look into it. Bri for score has Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, and Sing Sing.
I support Sing Sing. It's interesting. The long list is just a lot of movies that could be here in maybe another year potentially to be anywhere. But then again, that's the point of score. It doesn't have to be the most high profile movie to get in here, even though everything I have on this list is very high profile. But yeah, I've pretty much kept the same list all along. I love the mentions of Sing Sing and The Room Next Door. I'm agreeing with both of those. It's weird because I don't dislike The Wild Robot, but I like Flow so much that anything that Wild Robot gets, like, it's kind of like a good thing but a bad thing as well. I'd like to see other things getting in here, but I don't know. I guess for me, for score, I feel like it's always pretty much been about the same. So my lineup, this sounds familiar: The Brutalist, Challengers, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and The Wild Robot.
I've just noticed something which might be heresy. The 688 soundtrack doesn't even feature Warren's score or song.
It's released as a single.
The rest of the score and whatever. And I don't know whether it's the bonus track that's just listed as a bonus track. I'm not sure, but
yeah, Flow is a great score, Josie.
Are we ready to continue?
Yes.
Makeup and hair.
Finally, we get to talk about a movie. It's about time.
Okay. I pretty much made this decision a long time ago. I made this decision before I think the short lists were even out.
I think it's almost everybody did.
I think when we went through Critics' Choice, I even said this was what I was going with, and nothing has changed. For makeup and hair, I'm saying A Different Man, Dune, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. That feels almost a little too easy to me. So Something weird's probably going to happen, but that's the vibe I feel comfortable with.
Ashley.
What AJ said. A different man, Doom Part 2, Nosferatu, the Substance, and Wicked.
Unless something out there like Waltzing with Brando or The Apprentice gets in, there's nothing else that could be on this list. This 5 has pretty much seemingly been the one that has been in my head since day one, just like AJ, and I'm going to stick with the same thing. We all three say the same.
Not impossible, those two you mentioned.
No, not. Weirdly enough, Beetlejuice might be in this too.
Yeah, Brian, his predictions, has put Beetlejuice along with Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, the Substance, and Wicked.
Hey, as long as the substance is in there, I don't care. And as long as a different man is in there, I don't care.
Beetlejuice does have a very good history with this category.
Yes.
All right. Production design.
Thank you for finally letting me get a chance to say the substance name. Too bad I can't say it for a while. Production design?
You know, for once, I actually feel okay about the 5 I put for production design. But there's one hanging out here that's really threatening to knock one of these out.
Gotta find it.
Unless I'm way off and this is all wrong. What I have for production design is The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune, Gladiator, and Wicked.
Okay.
The one hanging out here that would probably bump out Gladiator for me is Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This time, not what AJ said, what AJ alluded to. I have The Brutalist, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. I feel... I'm trying to remember if Lighthouse got production design a few years back.
I think it only got cinematography.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. It does... a lot of Egger's work and the way he does it, it does feel like it aids a lot to what he gets for his sets and, you know, cinematography as well. So that's sort of why, you know, I went with that. And yeah, you're probably noticing that I don't like Gladiator 2. Not getting a lot of recognition. We'll see how long that continues.
All right.
Bry has Brutalist, Conclave, Dune, Nosferatu, and Wicked. The one tech category know for a fact that Amelia Perez will not be getting.
Thankfully, yes. Yeah, there's no reason to really like say anything further than that. I got Ashley's lineup: The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked.
Okay.
Costume
design?
Yep.
Gonna be a little bit of deja vu here.
Yep. Almost.
Yeah, almost.
We do the same exact thing. It's very possible.
Well.
Yeah, we did. I can tell by the way you said that.
Well, again, the same movie is the one that's right here on the cusp that's not here. So I went with Conclave, Dune, Gladiator, Maria, and Wicked. Again, if any of those fall, I feel like Nosferatu is right there. And I was trying so fucking hard to put Nosferatu in, but I couldn't break away from these 5. The one I don't know, just the one that I don't have a lot of faith in here is Conclave, I guess. But as soon as I considered it, I was like, no, I shouldn't do that. I should leave it in there.
Just double checking, this is costume, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense, because we of course, the final 10 of the Big 10, as we call them. dear Lord, this is the first time me and AJ have been that different. And ironically, the one that he's least sure about, I'm most sure about, because you have to make a couple of hundred fucking papal costumes. Holy shit, that deserves some credit. Like making them unique, but at the same time looking not unique as possible because they're all wearing the same shit. So, let's see how this rumble of the dice goes. I have Blitz, a complete unknown, Conclave, Nosferatu, and Wicked.
What I really should have done before we did these is rewatch Conclave. Well, the thing is I pre-ordered the Substances Blu-ray.
Nice.
Which doesn't come out till tomorrow. And I went ahead and I had just gotten paid, so I got Conclave 2.
Stop fucking rubbing it in my face because we don't get it till the 1st of fucking July. Thank God for Amazon bloody doing its mega weekend, and I now actually own it digitally for like
Which
way
one is
cheap.
that?
Substance. It's changed my life, literally.
Yeah, and I got Conclave with it. So Conclave is like in the mail right now.
Oh,
so
okay. When it comes, you're gonna put out White Smoke.
I wish I'd rewatched it before we did these so I'd have more confidence, but yeah.
Ashley, chat.
Bri has Beetlejuice, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, and Wicked.
See, I was gonna be the one that was gonna get to say, "Oh, I'm gonna choose this as my number 5." Shot in the dark. Nope. Ashley beat me to it. He won't die alone on this hill. No, I didn't go with Blitz.
Thank you.
In Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. I also have a complete unknown. I think it's going to be an award that is going to be surprising to a lot of people if it happens on Thursday. Except for anybody that paid attention to BAFTA. Because they're the only group that went with it.
I won't be surprised anytime a complete unknown shows up. Because they are obviously in love.
I mean, it's not necessarily period costumes, but it's of that time costumes. So I feel like that could work just the same.
Yeah, because that is a good mix of like. I mean, Nosferatu is period and fantasy combined. Wicked's fantasy. Gladiator, I guess, would be period. Conclave would be contemporary. Maybe. And the Complete Unknown would obviously be period, so it's a good mix of like contemporary. As it's split up in the costume guilds, it's the contemporary, it's the period, it's the sci-fi fantasy.
Are we on the Big Ten?
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Okay. We're starting with editing.
Nope.
This is another one where I have like 5 that are totally possible, and the 5 I went with. Because even though there's 2 separate categories for like live action features at the guild, I still think we're gonna see at least 1 or 2 things that did not make the guild be serious contenders here to get in. So one that I didn't go with that I feel like I maybe should have, and I did for a while before I took it out with Wicked. Musicals tend to do well with editing, and they are in love.
Mm-hmm.
I already said what I said about Challengers. I would be over the fucking moon if Challengers got in here. I can't explain. And I really This would be a really great place, not just to show it's like that it's in the running, but for the actual work done in the movie. The substance should be here.
Absolutely.
I ended up not going with any of those. I would not be fucking surprised. It didn't make the guild, but I would not be surprised at all if a complete unknown is here. Idiots that don't know anything about editing could say the Brutalist has no chance of being here because it's 3.5 hours. You don't know what editing is, you fucking moron.
Says that every single year and it never gets old.
I didn't say the Brutalist either.
Nope.
My 5 are Because There Is No God, Honora, Conclave, Dune, Emilia Perez, and my didn't make the guild swing that we've been mentioning several times in previous videos. September 5.
Let's go.
No, I have to remember to put a apostrophe after September 5, because on a spreadsheet it then just changes to 5th of September 2025 in date form. So, again, pretty similar stuff. I have Honora, I have Conclave, I have Dune Part 2, I have Emilia Perez, and I have Wicked. Yeah.
No.
That's what I have as my 5. I don't feel like I need to go sort of too far, because that's probably showing up. They're probably showing up in the 10. Spoilers. Bri for editing has Honora, Conclave, Dune, Emilia Perez, and September 5 as well. Also, Briar said, since we mentioned the movie Honora, no shock is getting the Criterion Blu-ray release in the tradition of every neon film that gets into Best Picture at the Oscars. That is one Criterion release that I don't think AJ will be buying. Can't think why.
Nah.
So this is the first time, thankfully, we've had to mention that god-awful piece of garbage on camera. It's here, no matter if I want it to be, no matter if anybody else wants it to be, it's here. So we're just going to keep it out. AJ didn't go with challengers, but I really feel like we are living in a world where challengers can get into editing. I feel it's very, very possible. So I have Honora, whatever. Challengers, Conclave, Dune Part 2, and yes, we know something everybody else doesn't, apparently. September 5.
PGA knows.
Yeah, they do.
Anybody that's just coming in and is confused about the Honora hate, it's in the other videos. I'm tired of talking about it.
GoldenGlobes.com. Check it out on the playlist.
Yeah, the Golden Globes prediction video specifically.
Yep.
Also, I don't think that same day Prince of Broadway is going to go in AJ's basket either for the Criterion Collection. Again, can't think why.
Right. Brian says, I would not be surprised if Owen boos with Honora during his nomination reaction. It's going to be really early in the morning. It's anyone's guess what I'm going to say. The only thing I can probably guarantee you, I'm not going to curse, because I'm trying to keep that curtailed as much as possible.
All right, let's pick things back up a little bit. Well,
yeah.
Cinematography. This one really hurt my brain. I could not make a definitive decision on this.
I think I might have made a mistake on this one, because there's one that I've fought with myself about, and I made a decision, and I'm not sure now.
We said this at the beginning. Not only is it so hard to make a definitive decision about these, the guild couldn't even do it.
Tell me about it.
The guild gave up and said, fuck it, we're doing 7. So, and I think there's things in contention that weren't even in that 7.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck it, here we go. What I really considered that I ended up bumping out were Wicked and Conclave.
Okay.
Maria makes a surprise appearance at the guild. Complete Unknown makes a not so unsurprising appearance at the guild because we just love a complete unknown, I guess. That's just what we do. There's no real explanation for it. We're just supposed to love a complete unknown and every single aspect about it. Well, I said the Brutalist, Dune, Emilio Perez, Nickel Boys, and Nosferatu. Nickel Boys making a surprise exclusion from the guild, but that's all people really talk about with Nickel Boys. That's the most it seems to have done all season, interestingly enough. So I'm gonna stick with it.
Especially the unique way the movie is shot.
Yeah, you could tell when they did that directors roundtable. I can't remember if it was the Hollywood Reporter or the Hollywood Reporter one. The other directors were fascinated with Ramel Ross and how he did what he did. So and his cinematographer. So yeah. I don't know. I'm even though Nickel Boys like really took a lot of hits at the guilds and the industry awards, I'm gonna stick with it here anyway.
It's not a bad bet, honestly, because that is one of the main things it has going for it. It's the way that it's so uniquely shot.
So you have Nickel Boys with, let me just double check, Brutalist, Dune, Amelia, and Nosferatu?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I have it right in front of me, too.
Just double checking.
It's got too many nominations as it is.
I have Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Maria, and Nosferatu. Probably mild spoilers. This is the only place where Maria's showing up in my list. Because I feel like I know it's sort of hit and miss anyway, but not all Pablo Larraín stuff gets cinematography.
Not the category to argue with. We'll talk about that later.
But wasn't Stewart the only nomination for Spencer?
Well, because I'm thinking, no, because did El Conde get 2 nominations last year?
No, I think just cinematography.
Yeah. Which is wasn't the same cinematographer as well, to be fair, but... So saying so? Yeah.
I thought it was in running for song as well, but it didn't get nominated.
It might have been, but, you know, it's
I do remember it getting nominated, though, overall.
It's weird that, you know, how Maria has a lot going for it, at least in terms of probably costume stuff, as AJ put it in his list. I decided to go with cinematography, but and again, if they like the same, you know, if they like the cinematography of that guy, maybe he just becomes the next Roger Deakins and that sort of thing in terms of that. But yeah, I'll see how that goes. I've got to go with the cinematography for Conclave, just for the rocking blooming ambulance with the dead Pope. Because it didn't make it in for sound. Bry has The Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Doom Part 2, and Nosferatu. Although it's possible I don't have Amelia Perez. And then I will save that statement for when we get to that category.
Please do. Save it for a little later. All right, so it's funny because once again, I don't have access to AJ's predictions or Ashley's predictions. So sometimes we pick the same thing. Ashley and I pick the same thing. To justify something I may or may not have done later in the predictions, I had to do something with Maria, so it ended up going into cinematography.
So that's how you solve a problem like Maria.
Yes. But my main problem here is feeling really bad I did not go with Nickel Boys because just the way that shot. It also gives me the feeling of something that could get snubbed and everybody would be really butthurt about it on Thursday morning. Because yeah, that's what the movie has going for it. 100% is the look of it.
All right, we back to a normal video.
It's August all over again. It's time to go scare people out in the fog.
I'm literally looking at adapted screenplay right now, thinking of making a.
You probably should if you're in that thought process.
Well, BAFTA's the one that swayed me towards what I have right now.
Okay.
But
Oh no, I gotta write it down. Hold on.
I feel like I should say something that I've been pretty adamant about not saying. But, you know, somebody that I was in a room with for several hours would be an Oscar nominee if that happened. So that would be pretty thrilling. For the... do I make this change last minute or do I not?
See, the thing about kayfabe is you keep it until you don't. So you don't have to tell anyone, just do it, because then we would never know that you made a decision at the last minute.
I will know, and that's enough to be depressing.
That is fair.
Well, the problem is that this category is so fucking weak and has been all year, all season.
It's had a legitimate front runner the whole time that really hasn't had any competition at all.
For anybody wondering, that being Conclave.
Of course, obviously.
I don't know. People are kind of, people. So
Women are talking.
And now AJ shall soon be, so let's go.
Oh. Okay. All right, I'm gonna make the change.
Okay.
Change is happening right now. You are witnessing it. It is happening.
I'm intrigued, to say the least.
Okay. So, and the change is the last one, so I can build up to it. So I can tell you the other four first.
Okay.
For adapted, we have a complete unknown. For whatever reason, we have it. Like 95% of the script is Chalamet sings. Here's the lyrics. Boyd Holbrook sings. Here's the lyrics. And Norton sings. Here's the lyrics. Barbeau sings. Here's the lyrics. But it's probably here. So there we go. Also, the aforementioned Conclave.
Of course.
Amelia Perez. How do you separate script from songs and musicals? I don't fucking know. We're never going to find out. But it's here probably. Because they love Amelia Perez.
Okay.
The industry awards have been beating the fucking shit out of it. But I went with Sing Sing anyway.
Yes.
And I had Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys has also been getting the shit beat out of it at industry awards, but it did make screenplay at BAFTA. That's why I initially went for it.
I know you did.
I took it out for Wicked.
Yes, you did.
Once again, especially pre-existing musical. Amelia Perez is at least its own thing. How do you copy and paste a musical and get into screenplay? I don't know, but it's been happening. So yeah, like I said, I shared a room with Winnie Holtzman for several hours. Didn't know who she was at the time, but she was there. Like right here. So that'd be cool to see. Anyway, even though I'd be so confused about how Wicked gets into screenplay, but yeah, for most of the season, I'm putting Queer and The Room Next Door in here. Because sometimes adapted gets a little inspired, and it's like, oh, you probably weren't thinking of this thing, but here it is. I don't know. I think it's going to be really weird this year because it's basically a dead category that Conclave is waiting to win.
Yes, very much true.
So those tracking what I said a few weeks back, changes have been made. Out goes Wallace and Gromit, and out goes Sing Sing.
Okay.
My 5 are Conclave.
Interesting.
For some reason, I'm saying Dune Part 2. Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Wicked.
I'd be thrilled if Dune got in here, and there's precedent with the first one doing it.
Yeah. I feel that's the one that I feel is the one that, if anything else makes in, like a Complete Unknown, or, maybe Sing Sing, or, something like that, I feel it's probably got a chance here. That's the one that I'm the weakest on, but considering how much general love there has been for it, it's always obviously confusing with the guilds with how many of these aren't even in the guild race and whatever.
Yeah, we do.
In which
need.
I need to say it now. Thank you, WGA, for recognizing motherfucking Hitman in your 5. Yes! That's what we wanted.
Dude, WGA made a lot of good decisions, but we probably should have prefaced these two categories, by saying, for the uninitiated, WGA is a worthless precursor.
Because half the things that are in consideration for WGA, in consideration for Oscar, are ineligible because the said writers are not WGA members.
Yeah, let me slightly reword that as a worthless as a precursor.
This is a notepad of all of the things that are not allowed to be involved as a potential nominee at WGA. Ashley?
Did I say it? I thought I said them.
You can do Brian's.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Bry says, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune, Amelia Perez, and Nickel Boys. Even if Macklin doesn't get in for supporting, he would get an adapted screenplay because he is credited on that as well.
It feels like it's been pretty much set in stone for me for the longest time, and I really didn't see any reason to change it. I know I probably should go in for Nickel Boys, and part of me feels like I should go for Wicked as well. And as I, too, have a story about being literal feet from somebody nominated this year, I'm not going with them as well. That comes later. My adapted lineup continues to be A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, and Sing Sing. I think Sing Sing is going to get a little bit of a boost on Thursday that a lot of people were not expecting it to still have, and it's not going to go home empty-handed. Not saying there's going to be winners or anything. I'm just saying that when it comes to nominations, it's not going to go home empty-handed.
Hang on. What was the first one again? Complete Unknown, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's get this other category out of the way.
All right. So it was the 4 plus a 5th spot.
That's always how it's been.
And I let PGA make that decision for me, what the 5th one was.
Yeah.
And it's funny that it's the 5th choice.
Yes.
Since I'm going uncredited, Sean Baker for Honora.
Oh, dear God, why?
The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, The Substance.
Let me just double check. Yeah, my only change is ditching Hard Truths and sticking a real pain in there. So, yeah, ironically, it be the same. I have Honora, Brutalist, a real pain, September 5, and the substance. Now to get to chat. Bry has said AJ for the story credit for Honora, the Brutalist, the real pain, September 5, and the substance.
Thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate it.
Good job, Brian.
But then we have Spencer. What if Warren Beatty announces best screenplay and calls AJ as the winner for Honora instead of fuckface Snaker?
Dude, if I heard Warren Beatty say my name, I would die.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a correct statement.
And I don't mean like for this. I mean in general.
In general.
Just generally.
God. I don't need to mention anything at all. I don't even have to say any words. It's the same exact lineup as it's been forever.
I appreciate you too, Spencer, by the way. I didn't say that.
So I'm guessing we're all the same on that?
We are 100% all the same on that.
All right, let's get to the clusterfuck acting category.
Oh, dear God.
Good Lord. Oh my God.
And the best Valley Girl.
I can't deal with these.
No.
I can't deal with these.
It's almost every.
Everybody's going to be butting their stupid heads in here saying, dude, why aren't you saying this person? Oh, this person's totally in. Oh, this person got this thing. Oh, this person got that thing or didn't get this thing or didn't get that thing. Guys, look at these lists.
Tell me about it.
We don't know.
No.
We don't know anything. I'm just, honestly, supporting actress and leading actor, I kind of feel okay about. Kind of. A little bit. I feel more comfortable about those two than I do supporting actor and certainly whatever the hell is happening in actress. So, I did something here. Owen's going to be really upset.
I know where we're going with this.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And there's some people we've been saying for a lot of the season that are now on the outside. I'll tell you who I don't have. I don't have Quali. I don't have Ingenue Ellis. I don't have Danielle Deadweiler. So, and I don't have Gomez, despite her interesting BAFTA inclusion. So, I guess if you do the math, unless I'm forgetting somebody, that leaves me with my 5, who are Jamie Lee Curtis for Last Showgirl. I'm not. I was on the whole. Oh, I'm gonna be the guy that goes against Ariana Grande. No, I'm gonna be smart. Ariana Grande.
Good job.
Felicity Jones, Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and who is probably our winner, Zoe Saldana.
Let me just double check. I have made one change, and that is Jamie Lee Curtis makes it in to join Danielle Deadweiler for Piano Lesson, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. I am that determined that so many people have not given a crap about watching all the Brutalist that they probably missed the Felicity Jones stuff, and that's why she's been getting little to no recognition from a lot of the people.
It's like, why is she getting nominations for only being a voice? What? There's a second half?
Why was this countdown happen when there was this freeze frame of this picture? I thought I was supposed to leave and not come back. Are they going to clean the theater now?
I saw It was one of those letterbox with threatening aura things where it was just talking about hand jobs, and I was getting confused.
Ooh.
I know, that's the thing. Like,
Ooh.
that's the fit.
It's
The
very
balloon. We get balloons for it.
A naked American man took my balloons. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it was like, you know, I left to get food, and then I come in on the first hand job scene, and then the interval happens, and I go to the toilet, and then by the time I come back, there's a second surprise hand job scene.
At least the good thing about the second scene is it didn't really, like, you knew what was going on, but at least it didn't show you. The first time it's like, here we go, and the second time I was like, nope, we're gonna ease back a little bit.
I that might be the only reason, I guess, why it's got an 18 certificate over here. Thanks, handjob number 1. Is that the prequel to Juror number 2?
I'd love to make the reference. No, I wasn't bored in Juror number 2, but I wasn't bored in The Brutalist either, so I can't make that reference. I can't sell that. Chat. All right, I'll just do it.
Nothing.
Brian has Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl, Selena Gomez, and Ariana Grande in her lead performance. Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana in her lead performance. All right. This may have been a bad idea, and I don't care at this point. I'd rather lose a point than not go down with the ship. I've said this for many years, and you know if you've been following along. So, my 5. Having seen almost everything in contention except for Amelia Perez, I have Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Margaret Qualley for The Substance, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez.
You've been very vocally anti-Felicity Jones.
I don't want Felicity Jones in this lineup. I don't think she needs to be in this lineup. And I wouldn't be shocked if she gets in, especially if they really like The Brutalist. But if the internet's correct and everybody's not watching the movie anyway, so there's going to be those votes are going to fly far away, so you never know. I'm pro-Qualley getting in. Very pro-Qualley getting in. And I really hope that it's one of the more deserved nominations from The Substance on Thursday morning. And I know very well I could be way off on that one, and not going with Felicity Jones is a bad idea. But, nah, I'm good.
All right. Sporting actor? I guess.
I don't like this because there's way too much I have to do here.
Yeah, I feel like this is another case of we have 4 who is 5.
It's not the right answer, but that's okay.
So I can start us off on the 4.
Hold on. Okay, so 4. Go ahead.
Urabor is off for Honora. He has not missed.
Don't remind me.
Culkin for A Real Pain. If they know what they're doing, he's the front runner.
Okay.
Norton for A Complete Unknown, for some reason, has not missed.
Nope.
Guy Pearce. Weirdly missed SAG. SAG was on crack. So, 5th option. Jeremy Strong has been surprisingly
Strong.
Consistent.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say strong. I was like, living to his name.
Jeremy's been real strong. Yes, we're aware.
I'm getting the vibes. I think I mentioned this before. I'm getting the vibes Jeremy Strong's the guy that gets in everywhere and misses. Because that always happens.
Sure, I can see that.
Clarence Macklin. like I said, Sing Sing has been taking an absolute beating outside of Domingo since the industry awards have been hitting, but Macklin did make BAFTA.
Yep.
That was a really good. Macklin really needed that.
Very much.
BAFTA
So.
nomination.
The movie did.
And I've been trying to push for Tucci all season. The farthest he's come is making the BAFTA long list. And they do love Conclave.
Could be a precursorless nomination.
Could be.
Nope.
However, I decided against all three of them.
You're going
Weirdly missed SAG.
Yep, knew this was coming.
Nobody's surprised he missed BAFTA.
Nope.
It's something I'm hoping for.
Hang on.
So that's probably pushing me.
I mean, I'm guessing this is going the way it is, so I'm just gonna get my favorite lyric from Run DMC's "Bring the Noise." D.
Or, as we learned in the Criterion Closet, his own children refer to him as Big Zell. Which is one of my new favorite things.
So he's like a Cash App now, like, basically.
At this rate, if he goes in the Criterion Closet, I hope he introduces himself as Big Zell because of what his kids did.
Well, Ashley, you should know about the wonderment that is DJ Big Driss, too.
So yeah, everybody was expecting him to miss BAFTA. Missing SAG was weird, but like I said, I don't know what the fuck SAG was on.
No one does.
So it seems like the obvious fifth choice right now is Jeremy Strong.
Yeah?
Or Macklin.
Yep.
I'm gonna hold on to Denzel. I'm gonna see what happens. And like I said, I kind of really want it to happen. This will be the one time where I want something to happen and I actually try it out and go with it.
Huh. I have Macklin in here for Sing Sing. I have Guy Pearce for Brutalist. I have Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown. And I have Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. And for its only nomination in my list, that is the power of the Denzel! He's that good. The rest of the film's so crap. That's the only Oscar nomination. Put it on the boxer. Because they probably will, because it's Ridley and he's petty as shit. Anyway, wait, what?
Brian.
I know. Bry has Borisov, Culkin in his lead performance, Macklin, Norton, and Pierce. Depends on how many international members of the actors branch would get Macklin, because that's where the love for Sing Sing's been more so than American voters.
Say that to SAG.
I don't know how successful their prison release has been, given that got, attention over the last week. Being screened in a select number of prisons.
Interesting.
Because I don't think any prisoners can vote in it.
So, Brian also says, look out for Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown. I like to think that was just like a temporary thing that's not going to go through, and I love Complete Unknown, but there's too many people who could end up in supporting actors, especially do not bump Margaret Qualley for that. Anyway, Ashley, I really want you to be right. Because that means he didn't get in, and I don't want that to happen. But I feel that we're in a certainty at this point that it's going to be a thing that I can't avoid, which I hate. So just in giant letters on my list, I put B-O-R-E. So that's all I need to put. So he's there, whatever. Nothing I can do about it. The front runner, Culkin. good old J.K. Simmons himself, Edward Norton. The very deserving Guy Pearce. Speaking of J.K. Simmons, actually, and the voice and everything, the J. Jonah Jameson version of Guy Pearce. I've stuck with him this long. I'm going to stick with him to the end. From the beginning I watched that movie, I'm going to keep it going. Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing.
All right, let's run into this fucking battlefield.
All right, I know where we're going. Go ahead. I got to figure out what I want to do.
I have 11 names I'm looking at right now.
Oh.
Are you just looking at precursors or just like, these are things that could possibly happen?
These are things I either had at one point or I was considering and what I went with. 11. There can only be 5.
Yes.
Okay, let's start at the bottom.
Right.
I swerved into the Ronin thing briefly.
Yeah.
It happened once. For the Outrun. Kidman starting it of all places, Critics' Choice taking hits.
Yeah.
And then Miss SAG and Miss BAFTA, I believe. Kidman missing SAG was like, what the? That's crazy. Because SAG loves her.
Yeah.
I was trying to stay as devoted as I could to Tilda Swinton.
Oh.
And I really wanted to stand by that as this is going to be the one that shocks all of you. But too much is going on.
Yeah, very much.
So let's move up a tier. Somebody I could have sworn I was going to go with, and I ended up not. I guess only by process of elimination. I'm not going down the Pamela Anderson path, I guess.
Yeah, I felt bad about doing that. I wanted to.
I think Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be pissed too that if she gets in and Pamela Anderson doesn't.
For sure.
I feel like I should be more on this Torres thing than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's fucking too much going on.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. Because I made a couple of choices that people are going to say, how did you consider them before you went with these? Listen, you goddamn people. You people that may or may not exist, that may or may not be arguing with me as we speak. Look at this category. Something crazy is going to happen. There's going to be people that you would think would absolutely be here easily that literally mathematically cannot fit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it is. And one of us is going to be wrong. Maybe one of us is going to be wrong multiple times. It's crazy. So, I've got one more tier here before we get to the 5. It's one person. And you might think, this person has everything. They love this movie. This movie's a front runner. Are you fucking insane? But here's the thing.
Do it.
And the controversy it will cause.
Yes! Do it!
You can already see the fucking headlines this controversy would cause. The controversy, okay, the movie's already controversial. That's already pissing people off.
Mm-hmm.
And the voters clearly do not give a fuck.
Nope.
They do not give a fuck about your voice, apparently. I can very much see the controversy. So you're telling me you love this movie, you're going to give it everything, and the one thing you're going to snub about it is the one trans person that's in it.
Yep.
Tell me you cannot already see that fucking headline. I've been toying this whole time with taking Gascon out. Even though Emilia Perez is only getting stronger and Gascon has been consistently here. How many times can we stress that this category is insane? And I will tell you the reasons I took Gascon out and put not one but two people you would think she would be in before them. I said for the longest time now, this person is not going away. I can see this person. They're not getting like everything. But if this person should get BAFTA, just BAFTA, it's enough to make me feel like I need to go with them.
Yep.
And I felt like in my core, I could not break that. Now that it's happened, and she did get into BAFTA, I've basically forced myself to go with her. So I've done that, and there's the person who's making a potentially similar trajectory as the person that came before her in this director's movies. And this movie has been showing up in the guilds, even though she missed SAG. But again, SAG was so off its fucking rocker. Let me tell you, I honestly really didn't even consider SAG at all when I was doing these. What the fuck is going on? So, all of that adds up to me going with Cynthia Erivo, Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Angelina, Mikey Madison, Demi Moore. Marianne Jean-Baptiste, I kept saying over and over again, if she gets in BAFTA, I'm going to go. And I feel like I said that so many times I cannot walk away from it. And I feel like Angelina's getting the Kristen Stewart trajectory of, oh man, wow, she's really in this. Oh man, is she maybe like, how much is she in this? She could be really a strong player here. Oh damn, she missed every fucking precursor except Globe. Oh damn, okay, it's nominations morning and she's still here. And like I said, Maria has been not absent from a couple of... Yeah, they're tech guilds, but the movie is still on their radar. So that's how I ended up with those in this category that is unfathomably hard to predict.
Yeah. I see the reasoning for a lot of those things. Which is why I flip my coin and say Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here.
Another lineup that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, no. It's one that I feel there might be just enough momentum off the Globes for Torres to actually get in here. Because, dear Lord, like, I feel like there's a separate Brazilian wing of the Academy. Because, like, the amount of stuff that I've seen, like, really pushing her. I don't want to compare her to fucking Andrea Riseborough for one thing, but there seems to be sort of like a swell of, like, let's get an international person in here. Even though you've got Gascon in there anyway, who would be international. But yeah. I feel like Erivo, Madison, and Moore are the only ones that I'm really sure are going to make it in. But, you know, prove me wrong. Academy. Prove me wrong.
It took me forever to get on the Erivo train. I think this is the first time I've actually predicted her. But like I said, with the way they're really showing their love for Wicked, I'd feel pretty dumb if I didn't.
Yeah.
And if anything, that one note at the end of Defying Gravity is going to be what gets it for her, just by itself.
Bry says Anderson, Gascon, Madison, Moore, and Torres. And also saying that expect to see a Revo here in 12 months' time for Wicked Part 2.
For good, for sure. Especially just the songs that we know and not even the stuff we don't know already. This hurts my head. I was so for sure about Nicole Kidman back in the day. And then one by one, it's like I saw Baby Girl and I was like, no. And then at one point I was all about Amy Adams with the Night Bitch thing before that became a thing. And I was like, I got idea in my best Tommy Pickles voice. What if Amy Adams and Nicole Kidman switched movies? And I brought this up to AJ, and it was like, mind blown.
It's I couldn't stop thinking about it after you said that.
Hearing Nicole Kidman in her Australian accent singing Dare to Be Stupid would have given me life, and I need that right now. I'm not going to go down the same roller coaster AJ did, but I had about the same thought process. Gascon missing is totally a believable answer, especially with I can truly see it being a headline on Thursday. The star of Amelia Perez misses and everybody else gets in. Oh, okay.
Not to mention that it's like the trans voices that are really like fuck this movie, and it's like for them to nominate basically everything but her would just be like one more final.
Especially with the political events that have been transpired over the last 24, 48 hours.
Sadly, does not play into the Oscar window of voting, so it doesn't matter. But I mean, I see where you're coming from. Hindsight being 2020. Actress was tough because it was always going to be Erivo, Madison, and Moore. And there was always going to be who else was going to join. Would I run Gascon, or would I be like, nope, I'm going to take a gamble, knowing what AJ was planning on doing without him officially telling me he was going to do it. Knowing him well enough to know that he was going to do that. He's not the only one that did, but I went a different path. Angelina, with the Pablo Larraín narrative, makes perfect sense. So I thought Angelina had to join. So like, oh, and who replaced Gascon? And I was like, well, my question is this. Out of all of the people that it possibly could have been, weirdly enough, AJ's response was take SAG out of the equation. Well, maybe they actually got one thing right this year, or maybe a few things right. But they didn't get everything right, but they did get one thing right. And I have seen Hard Truths now. And I've never been a Mike Leigh fan, and I probably never will be a Mike Leigh fan. And I can definitely see a world where Marianne Jean-Baptiste gets in. Not a world I want to be in, but I get it. And I could definitely see Fernanda Torres getting in after seeing the trailer 1,000 times in the last couple weeks for I'm Still Here. I can see that just by watching the trailer alone. There could be a complete surprise no one's even expecting, somebody from the past coming back and being like, hey, I'm still here, literally. So I decided to just take a wild gamble. And my fifth one is Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl.
I'd love to see it.
I really want that to happen. Do I think it will happen? I don't know, but I would be completely fine if... There's a lot of things I'd like to see happen, like personally. I love The Last Showgirl. The movie's fantastic, and the performance is great. And the fact that Curtis would get in and Anderson wouldn't get in doesn't sit well with me. But I know that's how it works, especially most years when it comes to award season. But yeah, I do this all the time. There's a reason for it. Why not both?
So you have
Is that it?
Anderson.
That is it. Let's get after it.
Just to clarify, you have Anderson with
Erivo, Jolie, Madison, and Moore.
Okay.
All right.
4.
I was having a difficult time with actor, but I feel like I feel okay with it now, I guess. And I already explained this in our last video, whatever that was. We've been looking at a very typical 5 with one sixth one hanging out here. 2 different and one guy hanging out here that has not gone unnoticed by this particular panel.
Nope.
Thanks to Ashley. A lot of people seem to think that Daniel Craig missing BAFTA is a big sign of something crazy about to happen. I'm gonna keep it typical. I'm gonna say Brody, Chalamet, Craig, Domingo Fines.
That's fair.
Because my argument before was I feel like for a while the big push for Stan was a different man, but then The Apprentice has really been making itself known. But I think The Apprentice coming into the equation only puts Stan in further danger of splitting both with himself. And enough people saying a different man, enough people saying The Apprentice, that he falls behind Craig.
It's very logical.
And BAFTA went with Hugh Grant, which is really interesting. But I don't think they're that fun. I actually really liked Craig, and I'm not typically a fan of Craig outside of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, give me Logan Lucky and Benoit Blanc, Craig. Joe Bang, I think is his name in Logan Lucky. Even give me like Tintin Craig, where he's like really over the top.
Totally.
I did really like his performance in Queer though. So, and that movie is like wild. So I just saw it since our last video. And yeah, as I was watching it, it was like kind of in my head. I was like, see this happening, and it's like I think I can. So I'm gonna stick with Craig and the other 4, even though I know Domingo has been very consistent, and Domingo has a lot of industry love. But it's really hard to ignore how much of a fucking beating Sing Sing's been taking. So it honestly, it really wouldn't surprise me if like even he fell off. But what would happen if that happened would be when it gets really interesting. But I'm sticking with the obvious 5 myself.
Okay.
I'm sticking with my 5 as well. So Brody, Chalamet, Domingo, Fines, and Grant. I think that is just the fact that what I thought was the shoe-in Craig getting in at BAFTA never happened makes me think there's something going on there. I mean, I don't. There's a chance it's not even Grant, to be fair. I feel it could be Stan for the wrong movie, because I think a different man has probably got more chance of winning than The Apprentice, considering the political situation right now. That's as vague as I want to go. Yeah. Let's take a chance.
All right.
Hugh Grant's first. It would be his first lead nod, right?
It'd be his first nod, period.
Yeah. In the chat, Bry has Brody, Chalamet, Craig, Domingo, and Fines. And Parsnip, I'll just mention this because I see it there. Parsnip has Brody, Chalamet, Stan, Domingo, and Fines.
Does he say which Stan?
Well, yeah, I get. Parsnip literally put, I disagree, they love The Apprentice, has nothing to do with the politics anymore, otherwise it never would have been nominated. That being said, a lot of the... Did Stan make it in SAG?
No, SAG was my lineup.
That's been a lineup pretty much forever and a day. That 5 AJ's lineup.
I don't know whether the Academy is all on it as much, considering how Hollywood seems to have changed its tune over the last few months. We'll see. You know, I'm not ruling it out and whatever, as an opportunity, but you know, I don't want to go any further because then the channel gets demonetized and gets removed from social media and whatever. Apparently.
There's videos and social media on this channel from a long time ago. Don't look for it. That would suggest the otherwise. So don't think that's gonna be a problem. Anyway, it just seems so easy, doesn't it? It really does. Brody, Chalamet, Craig, Domingo, Fines. So easy. Easy like Sunday morning. You know, sometimes it's not that easy. And I'm going to throw a wrench into that because I also have another person to put in instead. We've already talked about it, and it was already mentioned by Parsnip as well because he's paying attention. So, joining Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, and Ray Fiennes for Conclave. Ashley went with Hugh Grant, which, you know, wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. AJ went with the answer that's been the correct one since day one. Again, it would be obvious to be correct, so it's very likely. Let's roll the dice. Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice.
It's interesting we all have a different fifth choice.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Given the fact this was one of the most set-in-stone categories of the entire season, we ended up all going with something different except for you. All right, let's go.
The irony as well is, if I'm correct, all our number 5s would be first-time nominees. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my god, definitely.
And the other 4 are returning.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
With one winner returning. All right.
Let's get this over.
Okay, let me get this out there real quick because I've been shit talking a movie this whole time. I think, and I've been through this already, but I feel like more people probably watch like these Oscar ones than they do our other awards ones.
Sure.
I would say almost for probably as long as I have loved movies, I have loved James Mangold.
Dang it. Damn, AJ, come on.
I mean, look at that glorious, insanely eclectic filmography. I mean, he gives Ang Lee a run for his money for, God, every single one of these movies is different. And he's so good. And he's been so good for so long at so many different things. What the fuck were you doing, DGA? What the fuck was that? Of all the choices, what the fuck was that, DGA? Come on. I'm going to tell you what I kind of thought the DGA lineup would be, and it's certainly what well, it gets a little controversial for me, but...
Shoot!
What here's what I think it is, okay? ODR.
Yep.
Baker. Berger, Corbet, Corley, Farjaw. It was that easy, DGA. Where were you? You want to get rid of Fuckstick, throw Villeneuve in there. I know you won't, but you should.
I could think of other ones myself, but I get it.
Not to sound boring, but yeah. Copy paste. I have Odiard, Baker, Berger, Corbet, and Farge.
We were talking about it a second ago. I almost said it then, and I'm going to say it now. Since we're on director, we joked about our channel getting shut down. If our channel's going to get shut down, it's not going to be a politician that does.
Nope.
You already covered your tracks once. So, yeah.
Speaking of, Bry has the same 5 as well. I say Baker is the vulnerable one, not because of AJ, but I could see it as the crazy snub.
God, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Baker misses, I would not be surprised if AJ would be happy and just says, "Fuck you, Baker."
Since it would be being like filmed in the moment, I'm honestly not sure how to that, but you'd certainly find out.
Yeah, there's really no reason to say anything further. I mean, it's the lineup. Well, as much as it can be. It's if he's got to be there, then obviously this is the lineup that we're going with, and this is the lineup that I agree with. It's the same 5 everybody else has.
We're ready to get even more uncreative?
Yes. SPGA.
So now the question is, are we gonna go 2 for 2? Because I'm pretty sure last year we just went with the same 10.
I was just getting ready to ask, was it just last year that PGA lined up?
I think so. Hang on.
Here's what was going to happen. It took me a little bit to let go of Nickel Boys because I just really wasn't sure what's going on with it, and I'm still not quite sure what's going on with Nickel Boys. And I was worried about a real pain. Getting back in with PGA made me feel better. And the fact that Culkin seems right now to be the front runner and supporting actor, if I'm not jumping the gun.
I would say so. Until someone proves me otherwise.
Makes me feel good about I hope a real pain is here. I really hope. That would be a heartbreaking snub if it didn't make picture. For me, anyway, to me. So, the big question was this spot in PGA that September 5 had.
Yes.
Which is a really good get for September 5, which has been climbing quietly. Like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people. Like, a lot of people make those reaction videos for the Oscar nominations. I feel like there's going to be a lot of those asking what September 5 is.
Yes.
I just have that feeling. So,
It just now got released in theaters about 2 weeks ago.
So I was debating if I was going to go ahead and hold Sing Sing instead of September 5, despite the. I feel so bad. Sing Sing is such a modest, just nice movie, and the fact that I keep wording it as it's getting the shit beat out of it makes me feel bad.
I would love to give it 4 nominations instead of 3, but I can't.
Like I mean, I know SAG is stoned to this year, but it's like what a blow to Sing Sing to get 1 nomination at SAG.
Ridiculous.
That's wild. That's insane. That's every other adjective that is synonymous with insane and wild.
That is the opposite of Jeremy Strong.
So, with me feeling pretty confident to put it in an original screenplay, and the fact that I honestly, even though it didn't make the guild, I felt good about putting it in edit. And I was like, well, if it's going to do those 2 things, I would feel like that puts it ahead of Sing.
Yep.
How wild is that? That, by the way, I say wild a lot. I just want to throw it out there. I was using wild as a regular adjective before it really got trendy recently. So I
didn't know it was trendy, so there you go.
It just seems like everybody uses it now. It's like, oh. When I was like 12, I heard my dad describe Hellraiser as wild. That's when I picked it up.
That's great.
So, yes. Anyway, back on track. Uh, that's oh yeah, how crazy is it that Sing Sing was like our chosen picture choice in August,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a chance it might not be here.
Yeah.
That's unusual. Usually, when something falls off this much, it at least is still in the conversation somewhere. This is a crazy fall off for Sing Sing if it's not planning a last minute comeback. But like I said, regardless of what we said about SAG, that feels weirdly telling that a movie like that would go, not just go ignored, but go ignored for what they went with. I don't know. Long story short, my picture predictions are, again, a repeat of the PGA lineup, which used to be totally unusual, but now a precedent has been set that we can do that. So,
Okay.
if you're unaware, that be Nora, The Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune, Amelia Perez, A Real Pain, September 5, The Substance, and Weight.
Ashley.
History is made. I have Nora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Amelia Perez, A Real Pain, Sing Sing, The Substance, and Wicked.
Yep.
Which is weird because I don't have Sing Sing in script. So it's literally the two acting performances and the quote unquote ensemble that apparently SAG is like, nah, everybody must get stoned. Which kind of is weird because, there's not a lot of, there's not a lot of ensemble bits. Dylan just flips between one actor and then the next actor, and the next actor is not really a group performance. Like half the others are, so yeah. Unlike last year, we are not gonna be the same as each other.
You sure about that?
Well, no, as in
Not completely.
we're not saying the same 10 for all three of us.
That is a correct statement.
There is a different film, at least one different film in our list. The other 9 may be, rinse repeat, but Bry has Honora, Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune, Amelia Perez, Real Pain, Sing Sing, The Substance, and Wicked. I'm not going down low on the hill. Bry adding, we know the 8. I'd say the 5 that are battling it out for the 9th and 10th slot are probably Nickel Boys. Nosferatu is the least likely, but has a lot of techs, along with a Real Pain in September 5, and Sing Sing. Side note, does everyone kind of agree Dune Part 2 is going to be what The Two Towers is going to be at this year's Oscars? I don't know, because unlike with that, I don't think Dune Part 3, because it's probably not going to be involved. Do we know if Villeneuve's doing Part 3? I think
I'm pretty sure that's his. I'm pretty sure it's his plan for him to do 3 and then be done with it.
All right. I vaguely remember saying, something to do with either Dune 3 or 4, and that it'd be something that he wasn't involved with. I can't remember.
Yeah, he just wants to do he wants to do Paul's arc and then he's done.
Yeah. Bryce says I have Amelia Perez tying the Oscars record with 14 nominations. And then it's also if September 5 did get SAG Ensemble, I probably would have put it in picture myself. And then Parsnip says Honora, Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune, Amelia Perez, Real Pain, Substance, Wicked in September 5. Sing Sing hasn't been showing up, and Doom Part 2 is better than Doom, whereas Fellowship was better than The Two Towers. Yeah.
It's hard for me to separate Dune. It's hard for me to separate Dune and Dune 2 because we've always known them as the one story.
Yeah. I always feel that there's enough of a differentiation between Fellowship and Two Towers, if not just for the giant 30-minute Battle of Helm's Deep that basically closes Two Towers. Whereas you don't really have that sort of major battle at the end of Fellowship to some extent. And then, all bets are off with Return of the King. Just like throw it at the screen. So,
Parsnip says. Did you mention Parsnip's lineup?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to make sure.
Yeah, Bry basically matches me, Parsnip matches AJ. And Owen matches probably one of the two of us. Unless he's going to randomly say, I don't know, Gladiator 2.
Now, it sucks I can't go with Sing Sing here, but the September 5 thing, I mean, I've seen it. Believe the hype. It's really solid, and it deserves anything it gets. And to get it nominated for screenplay, editing, and picture, yeah, I feel that that's a pretty good arc for it. I think that's a good idea completely, and that's why I'm sticking with it. So yeah, my best picture lineup also matches PGA, and also matches AJ.
That it?
Do we have any excess chat that we can knock out before we end?
Yeah, because actually, we went less than 3 hours. It's a fucking miracle.
Let's see if we can keep it that way.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
To be fair, on the timer from when it says live, we have 17 minutes, so I think I can knock this out and we can actually get under the free threshold probably. Spencer says, to celebrate awards prediction day, I watched Disney's Dinosaur from 2000, Hostel Part 2, Sleepaway Camp 3, and Saw 4. I only did that in the order because then it feels like you did Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4.
Interesting.
It's weird how fun the Sleepaway Camp movies are. I feel like I shouldn't like them as much as I did. I actually like 2 and 3 a lot more than the original.
Wait a minute, it's like Terrifier.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, obviously, Felissa Rose is the icon, but as like entertainment, I just get a lot more entertained by 2 and 3.
The VFX people seem to be snobs more than any other branch. Jacob Tremblay still owed an Oscar for Room, and so is Drew Barrymore for Firestarter. Oh, Spencer says they're probably going to remake Amelia Perez in 10 years and call it Emily Peters. Josie liking the fact that Spencer watched Dinosaur. Spencer continuing, it's that time of the year. Brutalist using AI is disappointing. I'm rooting for Conclave. Again, though, that's like saying, they had to have used AI for bloody Peter Cushing in whatever that face was in Rogue One. And Ian Holm for whatever that face was in Alien Romulus before they tweaked it.
Yeah, I feel like what's happened here is what they were counting on. They being like, what passes for journalists these days.
Yeah.
Where it was like a not really notable amount of AI, but if you put it in a headline, it sound like the Brutalist as a whole is a fraud.
As I say, it's the scene in the thing where the pieces of paper about fucking John Lithgow's character in Conclave. It feels like that sort of thing. Except in Conclave, there's a bit of there seems to be more evidence, rather than just Rossellini talking for 30 seconds and then leaving the room in a polite manner.
Oscar nomination. Let's go.
J-Lo is really good in Unstoppable. Nicholas Holt in A Different Man, Sebastian Stan in Juror number 2. Mashup. How many of the American Pie spin-offs are any good? None?
I have not seen a single one.
I have not seen a single one.
I don't think any of them are any good, to be fair. Just the standard 4. You know, the actual quadrilogy, if you want to call it that. Probably the only ones that are solid.
I've underestimated straight-to-video sequels before, so it's not impossible one of them might be good, but I wouldn't know yet.
I'm watching all the reviews AJ did post Owen moving. I'm on the shack. Oh, 1,000th watch of Pacific Heights. Stand up and scream. Richard Linklater doing another Boyhood type idea with filming each year for 16 years, starting this year.
Mm-hmm.
It says she has a ballad formula. I'm guessing that's Diane, because I see afterwards she may do coke based on her talk show appearance. No judgment, though, Diane.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Good Lord.
Josie's first time watches since last time. Marathon Man, is it safe? Carry On Constable, Carry On Teacher, Carry On Nurse, Carry On Sergeant, and Ladybug. I saw Nickel Boys and Hard Truths back to back yesterday and today. Excellent. Marianne John Baptiste is amazing.
I did that the same day on Friday, actually.
Forgot to mention I also watched Just Visiting from 2001.
Directed by Jason Alexander.
Yeah, that's true.
Josie has a few of the categories. For costumes has Conclave, Count of Monte Cristo, Doom Part 2, Amelia Perez, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked.
Wait, I think I confused my movies there. That's not the one directed by Jason Alexander. I think
Odd.
there is another Just movie that Jason Alexander did. Just Visiting is the time travel one, right? That's a different one. Just Looking, is that the Jason Alexander one? I think it's like a coming of age thing.
I'm just double checking if it's.
I have a different movie. You just happen in real time.
Literally says a film by Jason Alexander on the case.
Is that Just Looking?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. And she said Just Visiting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That is Christina Applegate. Take a shot. Christina Applegate and John Reno.
John Reno, yes.
I saw the first third of the French language original when they just put it on in the French class when it was Christmas. And it was like, no, we're not teaching you anything. We're just going to put on Les Visiteurs. And it didn't make sense then, and it still didn't make sense when they did the American remake, so I guess it's faithful to the original.
We did something in Spanish class in 9th grade that's actually a really good technique. We watched Shrek with the Spanish track, the Spanish audio track. And because he intentionally picked a movie he figured we all knew, because the assignment was to write down the words we thought we recognized just based on how they sounded compared to Spanish and English.
Interesting.
And it works because we all know the dialogue to Shrek.
You know, everybody else likes Puffy.
Oh, God.
Josie for Productions Design has Conclave, Count of Monte Cristo, Dune, Gladiator, Memoir of a Snail, Nosferatu, Substance, Twilight of the Warriors, and Wicked. Cinematography, All We Imagine Is Light, Brutalist, Conclave, Count of Monte Cristo, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys. I don't think Nickel Boys was supposed to be put twice, Josie, unless you're very adamant on it. Nosferatu, Substance, and Twilight of the Warriors. And then editing is actually trimmed down to 5, unlike the rest of them. Nora Challenges, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and Substance. Did you mention the Sherilyn Fenn stuff?
That's the one thing I didn't mention. I didn't see it until it was too late. I thought it was gone.
She's in Thrashing the Skateboard with Josh Brolin.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I guess is only topical at the minute, probably because some politician tried to do a kip up with a skateboard, flip it up into their hand, and it went right into their genital area. Man hitting groin by football, I guess. Happened. Kiwi randomly has a comment saying, "I hope Challengers wins a bunch." Yes.
That would be nice.
Random comment, but also true. Josie's saying it's tomorrow's show at 5 or 6. It'll be the usual 6.
6.
We just went 5 because we knew this was going to go longer than usual because it's 23. It's 23 times 3 predictions. Oh wait, that's 69. Shit, nice. Bryce said, "I know Robbie Williams because of his cover of Beyond the Sea that's in the credits of Finding Nemo."
That is also correct.
I'm amazed that people are not aware of his fucking cover with Nicole Kidman as Something Stupid, because
Something Stupid, yes,
brilliant. Josie says, my mum loves the sound work in Conclave, but didn't get shortlisted. Yeah, balls. Bryce says animation on an international feature probably gets shut out for free because of Janet Yang being the president. It probably confirms that she views animation as kid stuff and not a media cinema. Her and Del Toro probably do not like each other. Josie's making revisions for the Hangout episode.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Brian making a point because of I can't be bothered to get the thing. I'll actually say Diane motherfucking Warren, but not put effort into it. That means that a Tyler Perry movie is going to get Oscar nominated.
Yeah, right. That is very true.
I mean, Song has caused a lot of interesting Oscar-nominated movie things. Everything from 50 Shades of Grey to Beethoven's Second are Oscar nominees because of Song.
3-6 Mafia!
All I've realised is if I'm going to make this joke continue, at least for the thing, I need a better marker so then it doesn't appear backwards. Then again, the other problem is when I do my just general webcam shot, the webcam will flip the image, so this won't look backwards, it will look forwards. It's just it looks backwards on blooming Discord because of course it does. So,
well, it looks regular to me, so I don't know what's.
Oh yeah, it's probably mirrored on my shot. That's the problem.
When you're looking at the actual screen, it looks like it's reversed, but if you watch it on the actual playback, it looks right.
Okay. Yeah, that's just confusing as well.
Yeah.
So comedy for 2, and then comedy for everyone else. Josie says, I just realised the initials are DW. So every day when you're walking down the street.
Oh.
Josie's saying Flo and Nickel Boys are favourite scores of the year so far, probably until I see Brutalist.
Yeah, Flo's great.
Just double checking. There's the Snaker comment.
Come on.
Parsip saying I think Sing Sing and Nickel Boys will go get snubbed and Pamela Anderson will get in. I don't know if that's relating to just stuff in general. Kidman will be right too, as well as Angelina Jolie. Amelia Perez getting a lot of hate. What doesn't? There's always one that, like, because it's punching above its weight, they always try and punch down on it to try and. Sometimes I think that's like reverse psychology. It's like, oh, well, let's crap on it, which means it gets more nominations than people want it to, so it pisses them off even more. I hope next year the Wicked sequel is not as good and will cause a loss then too.
I don't think that's going to be a thing, but we'll see.
If it delivers on the original songs, like being on the same caliber as the original, that to me is the key thing.
I feel
the original content pushes it.
Sure.
Parsip saying, how can AJ go with Angelina when she's been in nothing? No, she was in Maria. Oh, I guess no awards. Well, has she been winning on anything on
Bro,
the
I
other
explained
critics?
that.
Okay. I lose track. It's a long day. I've got to be up in a few hours.
That's usually my gimmick, not yours.
For him to ask that question, I answered that question.
Yeah.
It's the Stewart trajectory. She got Globe, and that's it, which would usually mean nothing, but the
It's the
Lorraine
Pablo
trilogy,
Lorraine Kristen Stewart combo. It's the Pablo Lorraine effect.
because those movies are basically the exact same movie with a different person.
Pamela's a better chance than Jolie because she's been in more places. Again, not entirely. The fact that BAFTA didn't even acknowledge her even in the long list, which surprised
And
me. But they went with Curtis.
Like I said, also, I basically completely disregarded SAG because I don't know what even happened with SAG.
Remember when they announced the nominees, they go by the film and not the name of the director?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you'll probably see Brutalist, and then maybe so if you see the Brutalist first and Nora misses, that's what. Okay. Jean-Marie Poiret directed Just Visiting. Is that the same one as the original? I can't remember. And Participle said the songs in Wicked were always good. I just don't like Ariana Grande.
She's very nice. Put it that way.
Oh, and Bryce also said since we're doing a hangout to remind all three of us, the Oscars game that Bry will be doing, and we agreed on the last time we did one, was 90s cinematography. Oscars.
Awesome.
So
oh yeah,
we'll get to flash back to that. Where probably Titanic's there because of course. I think with that, just as we're about to get within the final minute of 3 hours, we can actually wrap this up.
yes. We're good on everybody.
I'm surprised we didn't go longer, but you know. Yeah, so we'll be returning tomorrow at the usual time of 6 Eastern to just do a hangout as well as, you know, pick some other things. Who knows what else may have happened in the movies? Maybe more nominations will get shifted or something. Maybe we'll actually find out who's presenting these nominations, because I think we're still under the limbo of no names have been listed in terms of who's going to be announcing the Oscars on Thursday. So
all that matters is who's hosting the Oscars.
For now. And then Thursday will be the bombardment. I will try and go live and have it in the corner and whatever, reacting to it legit live, as you know, you possibly will see it, depending on stream delay and everything. Owen and AJ will film their videos and get them up as soon as possible / what internet allows. And then we'll be back at 6 Eastern to do the deep dive on Thursday as well.
Yeah, and then we shouldn't have anything to do until we have to predict the guilds in like the beginning of February.
Let's double check. Yeah, that'll probably be a double header to some extent with that all week. We're going to be doing a Friday night thing. Thanks to the Critics' Choices on the Friday before the Super Bowl.
It's officially got announced. Last time I checked, it wasn't announced yet.
I think they I thought they shifted it to the 7th of February.
Yeah, that's the last thing I saw.
I didn't see that yet, so that's news to me.
They shifted it to the 7th of February because a lot of people were like, why don't they put it on the 9th? And then it's like, the 9th is the Super Bowl. so it probably wouldn't do well if they run against sports.
Well, the 9th is, yeah, I don't care because this stuff actually matters to me and the other stuff doesn't. So me doing a show on Friday does not jive, sir. So I'll have to figure that one out. That's a movie day.
Bearing in mind that also means we'd probably be able to react to DGA and PGA if we decided to do it like the day after and whatever on the Sunday.
We could just wait and just do a recap show on Sunday if we want to do that, but we'll figure this out later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just officially saw it February 7th, Critics' Choice.
Yeah, which means that's going to be the cluster because Critics' Choice, DGA and PGA are that weekend. The following weekend is WGA and BAFTAs, and then the weekend after that is the Spirits and SAG.
Which we haven't even talked about Spirits yet, so I haven't looked at that lineup since I first saw it. So,
and then the week after that is the Oscars. So it's when we get to Critics' Choice, it's literally 5 weeks of ceremonies to cover.
All right, that's fine. Good content. Everyone loves that. All right, that's your show. Ashley can be found on social media at AshIsMyNameUK. Gaming content and Snacks Ash is coming in the near future. AJ's content is going to be a little bit more like regular when it comes to reviewing movies in 2025. Once he starts, he's not going to be able to stop. I can see that happening. So yeah, we'll get ready for more movies for 2025. That's going to be coming soon. After sometime in that window is also going to be your next Speaking Bluntly, which is for If.
Yeah, we're probably starting with Den of Thieves, and Den of Thieves 2 and Back in Action is where we're starting.
I can be found on the socials at Sir Owen Disney, and basically, if you like what you're seeing here, click like if you like to do that and help the algorithm. That'd be great for all of us. At this point, this is the busiest time of the year for the channel, and that's how we know that you guys enjoy what we're doing. So thanks again for joining us, whether live or in archive. You can check out more of my content on this channel too. I got a lot of Sip and Snacks coming in the near future. A lot of Voices content. We got new costumes this Friday, and it was amazing. That video is going to be live eventually, and I'm excited to be able to put it up. So, new wardrobe for Voices. Gotta love that era. And that's going to be your show. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Go out, check out a movie this week, and tell us what you think about it. And we'll see you probably tomorrow. And for those of you that are not joining us tomorrow, no worries. We'll catch you either in archive or the next time we do a live show, which will be sooner than you think. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Until next time, boys and girls, always have the best day ever. And that's all we got to say about that.